A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll move to the scene of the flash fire that has gutted the second floor of the Mechanical Standards building and threatens to bring all 3 floors tumbling down into the basement where Mr. Lawley is trapped in the records vault. We'll go as soon as you've heard this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the street outside the Mechanical Standards Company building, where Tim Collins, on his first run to a fire with the rescue company, is trying to get important information from E.B. Hewitt, president of Mechanical Standards.
Now, Mr. Hewitt, just try to give it to me straight. This man, this Mr. Lawley, he carried your company's records down to the vault in the basement, right? And now he's locked in. So how can we get at him? How can we get him out?
And as Tim Collins gets from Mr. Hewitt the facts he needs to plan his rescue of the trapped man in the basement vault, Chief Cody shouts out,
All companies, get your men out of that second floor. Pull them out.
The foam generator is ready for operation, Chief.
Good. Can you spare men to stand by in case we need that foam?
I'd rather not, Chief. My boys are going into the basement after that fellow in the vault.
What? Haven't they started yet?
Smokey McBride went in with trouble to locate the vault.
What's keeping them? Why isn't that man on his way out?
Huxley Collins is getting the dope we need from Mr. Hewitt.
What? Dope?
On how the vault is set up, so we'll know how to break in without losing any more time.
Okay. Then have Lieutenant Greenspan take over operation of the foam generator.
Yes, sir.
Tell him to stand by to cover that gasoline stored in the basement. If that second floor is going to collapse and the whole building falls into the cellar, Greenspan can keep your boys from frying in a gasoline fire.
Okay, Chief. 209. Orders for Company 209.
You hose men, rig pipes on the aerial ladders. Give me water towers. Flood that second floor from outside. All engine companies, mount your deck pipes in the street and your turret guns. Aim at those windows. Flood that second floor. Give me every gallon of water you can pump.
Now, as Captain Jellybone returns to his field headquarters at the rescue wagon, after transferring command of his foam generator to Lieutenant Greenspan, Tim Collins.
I got it! Captain Jellybone, I got the dope we need.
All set, Huxley. What's the layout?
Well, this vault, Captain. It's a big room down in the basement. A room with concrete walls 2 feet thick, reinforced with metal rods.
Well, we'll never cut through those walls, Collins.
No, sir.
Not in time to save that man inside. How about the door?
Heavy metal, sir. Stronger than the walls. And it's locked tight now because the lock is some kind of electric mechanism.
Works running with electricity, eh?
Yes, sir. And the electricity is turned off. But there's a window, sir. A window that opens from the vault into the corridor.
A window?
Yes, sir.
Of glass in a room built to resist anything but an earthquake?
Well, Hewitt says they have a window to let in air, sir.
Oh.
Because sometimes they work there in the vault on those precious records of theirs. But the thing is...
there's a window. And that's how we got to get the man inside. Come on, Collins.
But, Captain...
No time to waste, boy.
Captain, the window, Captain, is made of shatterproof glass. And from outside, it's protected with iron bars. We'll have to cut our way in.
Iron bars, eh? Well, that means we'll need the cutting torch.
Yes, sir, and I'll need help to carry the gas tanks, Captain.
We can manage them between us, Huxley.
Yeah, but you're going in, sir? Cobble and Smokehead are in there already.
Of course I'm going in, boy. If that second floor comes down, we'll pull each other out.
Oh.
Come on. Unshift that oxygen tank from the wagon!
Less than a minute later, carrying the cutting torch and the tanks of gas that feed it, they plunged to the basement garage of the Mechanical Standards Building into a pitch-dark corridor.
Black as night in here, Captain.
Yeah. Flash your light, Collins.
Yes, sir.
Can't tell which way this leads to the vault.
Look, sir, there's a sort of glow down that way.
Yeah? Cobble! McBride! Show a light!
This way, Cartwright.
There's his light.
Heft that acetylene torch, Hooksy.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
With the gleam of Private Cobble's torch to lead them, the rescue captain and Tim Collins move more swiftly along the corridor into the depths below the burning building until they turn a corner and...
Hey, Captain, that you?
It's me, Smokey. Cobble.
Sir?
Get back to the wagon and bring us a few masks. The new ones. Don't know what we run into. Smoke, gas, or what have you.
Okay, Captain. Who's that with a cutting torch?
Me, Hooksy Collins. Lend a hand, will you, Smokey?
How you doing, kid? What's happening up top, sir?
Looks bad on the second floor.
Yeah, we're better down here. No smoke down here. Not yet, anyways.
All right, all set with the torch, Captain Jellybone.
All right, stand by, boys. Now, what's the setup inside the vault, Smokehead?
The guy's all right. At least he's alive. Leastwise, he was a few minutes ago. Look, when I tap on the glass with my spanner.
Turn your light in there, Collins. Right, turn it in.
Yeah, see that white blur? That's him.
He's tapping back. Can't see through this glass, and he can't see us either.
Oh, well, good grief. What'll happen when we turn on the torch if you can't warn him to get away from the window?
He can't hear so good in there. I tried. Come on, Captain, you try.
Can you hear me?
What's he trying to say?
Oh, who knows? At least he's got air. That vault must have air ducts leading into it.
All right, ready for the torch, boys. Window must be jammed, or he'd open it from the inside.
Lighting the torch.
Just that mixture gas, Smokey. Now, hold up the torch so Lolly can see the flame through the window.
That white blur on the glass, that's his face, I think.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
He's moved away from the window.
Yeah.
He'd better. This heat from the torch will cut those bars like butter. Let it go, Smokehead.
Watch me knife through that iron.
Cut every bar, top and bottom. We need room to pull that man through.
In short order, the fierce flame of the cutting torch slices through the iron bars, melts, vaporizes, and blasts away enough metal to open a way to safety for the man trapped in the vault. And Captain Jellybone orders...
Good enough. Light here, Collins.
Yes, sir.
Ouch. Ooh, that window's hot. Gotta work fast. Don't know what that heat might do to the man inside.
Oh, good grief. The heat made a mess of that glass. Burned right through in places.
Yeah. Here, your axe here, Smokehead. Let's pry that window out of the frame.
Gangway, Collins.
Yeah.
Leave me room for my elbow.
Up at the top. Wedge the blade of your axe against the...
Gotcha, Captain. This'll open her up.
Yeah.
Hello, inside there. Come on over to the window.
I'm going to sink. Sink? It's going to sink.
Captain, there's water in that vault.
Hey, you like Collins. Look in there.
Oh, good grief.
Flooded. Hey, it's coming from upstairs. That water pouring down from the second floor.
Hello, Mr. Lawley.
There he is, Captain. Yeah. There he is, hanging onto those pipes in the corner. Oh, good grief. That water's almost up to the level of the window.
Hang on, mister. We're coming in.
Give me a leg up to the window, Collins.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You can't get through. You're too thick in the body, Smokehead. It'll have to be me.
All right, Collins. Get out of your boots and coat.
Yes, sir.
You'll have to swim for it in that vault.
Hey, we'll have to swim for it out here. There's water underfoot right here in the corridor.
I thought the safety doors would hold it back. But no door could hold back the tons of water Chief Cody is pouring down into the second floor.
All right, ready, Captain.
I'll push it, brother. Up, easy. Up. Man, you're heavier than you look.
Can you make it, Collins?
Yeah, I'm almost through, sir. Hey, give me a shove, Smokey. Hey! Hey, what do you think I am, a diving beauty?
Get that man, Collins. The water is rising. We've got to get out.
And as Tim, hardly able to keep his balance in the swirling water that pours into the vault through air pipes, reaches for the helpless Mr. Lawley, Chief Cody, out in the street, is showing concern.
Come on. Private Trouble. Get down into that basement. Tell your captain and the rest it's time to pull out, or I'll have to go after it. I want those men out of there now.
Chief Cody, watching the whole progress of the fire from his post of command, sees a sudden turn in events. A change that makes it necessary for Tim Collins and his mates to escape from the basement without delay. But first, as you know, Tim is determined to carry out his mission, to rescue Mr. Lawley from his water-filled prison. You'll hear how Tim brings Mr. Lawley to safety in our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Chief Cody, reminding you that one of the best ways to fight fire is to call for help while the fire is still small. At the first sign of danger, pull an alarm. And then, if you can, put the fire out yourself. Remember, the firemen don't care if the fire is out when they get to the scene. They would rather roll 10 times and find the fire already out than have you wait until the blaze grows big and dangerous before you call them. So when you need help, don't hesitate. Just pull that alarm. Well, that's all, and so long for now.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters!
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. William Powell in tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents a story based on fact. The dramatic report of a man's desperate race for freedom, with names and places changed in order to protect the lives of 3 people. The story is called The Man Who Cried Wolf. Our star, Mr. William Powell.
Okay, Mr. Wilcox, you're all set.
Thanks, Sam. My complete Autolite electrical system is tuned to a T, eh?
Yes, sir. The coil, distributor, starting motor, generator, spark plugs, battery, and all the other parts are working together like a perfect team. And that means smooth and economical performance.
You know, that electrical system has a big job. It goes to work the instant you press the starter button and continues to function every second your car's in motion. In addition, it works for you every time you blow your horn, turn on your lights, radio, heater, and electric windshield wiper.
Yep. That's why it pays to keep the electrical system really running right.
You bet. So, friends, have your car's electrical system periodically and expertly checked at your car dealer's or authorized Autolite service station. You can locate your nearest Autolite service station through the classified section of the phone book under Automobile Electrical Service, or by calling Western Union by number and asking for Operator 25. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
William Powell is appearing by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor picture The Naked Spur, starring James Stewart, Janet Leigh, and Robert Ryan. And now, Autolite presents The Man Who Cried Wolf, starring Mr. William Powell, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
If you knew who I am, if one day you would pass me on the street and stop and point your finger at me and say, this story happened to you, then I would be a dead man. And therefore I cannot tell you too much about myself, neither what I look like nor where I am. A few things you may know, which will alter nothing. I am Russian. I was once a member of the Communist Party. And until recently, I was attached to the Russian embassy in Mexico City. A cipher clerk. 3 years of it. Attached to the embassy in a strange new land. Here a thing needs emphasis. The people, the Mexican people. They worked, they sang, they laughed, they had families, cried, played, hoped, loved. Like Russian people. But with a difference. They did these things when and how and where they wanted to. Not by directives. The word is freedom. It took me 3 years to know its meaning. For this, I was almost murdered. To you, my name is Meros Leko. It started at 9 o'clock in the morning, when I was walking toward the cipher room in the embassy.
Comrade Leko, if you please, comrade. Can you spare me a moment?
Of course.
In here, please. My office. Sit down.
Thank you.
And how is your wife, Lilia? And the little one, his name...
Ivan.
He must be, let me see, 3 months. 3 months. Amazing.
I believe Ivan recognizes me, Comrade Zappakin.
I have heard of other children his age who travel in airplanes. Bottles and equipment to make formula. These things are provided.
I don't...
Of course you do. Travel in airplanes. Ivan will do it. Therefore you, therefore your wife.
I have been recalled?
I have suggested it to the ambassador. The ambassador to Moscow. Approved. Moscow to the ambassador, etc.
But why?
Because I suggested it to the ambassador.
I see.
Of course you do. However, you should know this. I have written a letter which will precede you by diplomatic pouch. As your superior, my impressions of you. The gist of it you must know.
No, I don't.
You will be missed here in Mexico. I've told them that.
Thank you.
By many friends, Mexicans, Americans whom you have met through your Mexican friends.
Then I am being recalled as a poor security risk?
Exactly. Now, your key to the cipher room.
Comrade...
There's the key.
Oh, yes. I have it here. To detach it will...
Zapotin speaking. Yes, comrade. Oh, yes, one moment. Comrade Leko, if you please wait for me in the corridor.
Of course.
Yes, comrade. Yes, ambassador. I have told him.
There is no melodrama attached to it. Merely a simple truth. To be sent back to Moscow is a bad security risk. Prison, work camp in Siberia, death. Therefore, do a thing. Pursue a plan. Ensure my living. Do not wait for Zapotin. Back to the cipher room. Use the key. Steal certain papers, documents, for the occasion of remaining alive. You have this one. And this. Secret documents to buy my own security. Papers dog-eared for the purpose. Stay alive. And these. This.
Let go.
And put them into my coat pocket. Inside.
Comrade.
A moment, comrade.
Open. I told you to wait.
But I had duties here in the cipher room.
You are relieved of them. I told you this.
No. Merely that I'm returning to Moscow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
The key, comrade.
Of course. Here.
You will go immediately to your house. You will inform your wife. You will pack. You will get your child ready. And you will be delivered to Moscow. Under escort, comrade. Now, good day.
Lilia. Lilia.
You, Meadows? Is it you? I was but in the kitchen doing the things of the morning and... Meadows.
What?
It is morning and you are not at the embassy. You are here. Why?
The child, Lilia. Where?
He has been fed. He is bathed and he sleeps now.
Lilia.
It is cold in your hands. Close, I will warm you.
Lilia.
Why? Say to me why you are of illness.
Yes, that's it. An old illness.
Then we will call a doctor. We will...
No, Lilia.
But this chill in you that I cannot warm.
Fear. Fear of death. To run in streets blazing with sun and still to be cold. What cure for that, Lilia?
Death?
To begin tomorrow. For you. For me. And for the child. I don't know what there will be for the child.
Your lips spoke death.
I'm being recalled, Lilia.
Why? Why? You have worked hard for them.
And I have talked to people here. And I've sat in sunlight and laughed with them. And somewhere in darkness it was observed and reported.
There is until tomorrow. And there is time for flight. I will make ready the child.
No. If we run, they will find a quicker way to kill us. I have a plan, Lilia. For a year now I've had this plan.
And it will keep you from death?
Listen to me. I've stolen certain papers from the cipher room. Documents of theirs that can buy back our life. I have them here in my coat.
From whom will they buy our life, Meadows? Who will now want...
Will you listen to me? You are to take them. Here, take them.
Yes, Meadows.
You put them in a briefcase. And then you take the boy and dress him and go to the Plaza Zocalo. And the bench there near the great fountain. And you are there so the child will have sun if anyone asks. And you'll keep the briefcase hidden until I come to you. You understand, do you?
Yes.
And then quickly, get ready. Go, Lilia, quick. Oh, Senor Cardoza.
You give me surprise, Senor Leco. It was not you I expected to see this hour.
Ah, but I'm glad to see you. Please come in.
The day has of beauty, and in the streets there is fiesta. Leco would care for fiesta, she and the pequeño. Ay, the señora and the pequeño. Muy buenos días to you both.
Senor Cardoza.
You'd better take the child and go, Lilia. There's not much time.
Yes, Meadows.
But, senor, I've come for you and the little one to the fiesta.
Lilia?
I'm sorry, Senor Cardoza. Perhaps another time. Come to us soon, Meadows.
Another time, senor, when I will not disturb. I, too, will go.
No, wait.
Yes?
3 years we've known each other now. Neighbors. You've done kindnesses for us. Are you also my friend, Cardozas?
But this is a question of ridiculous. That I am your friend? I, who have held the pequeño Ivan in my hands? Who have babysat for him? Who have...
Listen to me. Just listen. I've come across certain documents. They prove a conspiracy exists between members of your government and mine. These papers can buy back my life. I have only until tomorrow to sell.
Oh, I have read of such grotesque things.
Where do I buy back my life, Cardozas? And Lilia's and Ivan's? You were a lawyer and a Mexican. Where do I trade?
It is to ponder. A moment. If I were not a poor lawyer, if I were an editor, perhaps, of a great newspaper, and there was a week's headlines to be had for so little price. Oh, pardon, how frightful I am. I did not mean that.
Editor. Newspaper. Yes, of course. Oh, mil gracias, Cardozas. 10,000 thanks for our lives.
Yes? What do you wish of me?
I am Meros Lecco.
Call the clerk of the Russian embassy. I remember you well, Senor Lecco, from another time.
I have a story for you. With documents. Top secret.
So?
The documents prove that there's a conspiracy between certain members of your government with mine. I've stolen them from my embassy. They're yours, if you want.
And the price, senor?
I told you. My life. My wife's. My 3-month-old child. Our lives. Very cheap, senor. Bargain rates.
You had the courage to steal secret papers of the Soviet. You, a Russian citizen, and this is what you want? Not money?
I have been recalled to the Soviet. There'll be a plane for us tomorrow morning. An escort. And after that...
Where are the papers?
My wife has them. She's waiting for me on a bench in the Plaza Zucano. The boy's with her. I'll go to her. Tell her that you'll take them.
Oh, you... you people. Intrigue, drama, the promises of violence and of revelations and the easy words on your mouths. Life. Death. It's like the last time you came to see me, huh, Senor Lecco?
What?
Not a year ago, Senor Lecco, you were here. You then had another thing to sell.
Listen to me.
The thing of Dr. Diego. Remember? Professor of electronics in the University of Mexico. He, too, was in conspiracy, you told me then. And it was false. A savage lie. You and your government wished only to relieve us of his brains. To get him out of your evil way. To destroy him and slowly us.
It was a lie, I admit it. I had orders to do that. But this...
This is of a fable, senor, of the boy who cried wolf once too often. And now it is a man who has cried wolf.
Please, you have to believe.
Not I, senor. I have more wisdom of you now. Run into the streets. Cry wolf to the masks of fiesta. Perhaps one of them will believe, but not I. Go. Cry wolf.
They'll kill me. Lilia. The boy.
Adios, senor.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. William Powell in The Man Who Cried Wolf. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Sam, did you know that 41 years ago, Autolite designed the first 2-unit, 6-volt automotive electrical system used as original equipment?
Sure. And Autolite electrical systems have been used as original equipment on leading makes of our finest cars, tracks, tractors, and boats ever since. Hey, Mr. Wilcox?
They sure have, Sam. And all the units which make up the world-famous Autolite electrical system, including the coil, distributor, generator, starting motor, spark plugs, voltage regulator, and battery, are related by Autolite engineering design and manufacturing skill to give the finest performance money can buy. Every unit, as well as the component parts that go to make up every unit, are designed to fit and work as a family team.
So be sure. Insist on Autolite original service parts for your Autolite-equipped car.
Right, Sam, because then you're sure of getting the best. Friends, you'll find it pays to keep the Autolite electrical system of your car a family system. Insist on Autolite original service parts. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. William Powell in Elliot Lewis's production of The Man Who Cried Wolf, a story well calculated to keep you in suspense.
These are the things which happen to a man who might be killed. Walk a street. Glance backward. Stop. That man in back of you, why did he stop too? So turn a corner, and there's a place, a building, a place you've been looking for. The Department of Justice. And go into it. Find a man, a small man, a neat and dapper and meticulous and methodical and shattering man.
Lecco. Meadows Lecco. The name I know. I am sure of it. Pardon me.
Please, senor.
See?
I have documents.
Forgive me. You have a story, but no documents. You say your wife has documents, but you do not. Pardon me. Lecco. Leco, huh? Meadows Leco. I see. Meadows Leco. The Department of Justice has a dossier on you. I was sure of it. In March 1952, you reported that a certain Dr. Diego of the university, erroneously reported, I must say.
It was a lie, then. I was under orders to report.
And today, no lies, senor?
What I have been telling you is the truth. My life is in danger.
And you wish protection?
Yes. For me, for my wife, for my child.
Senor.
Yes?
You are a Russian national of the embassy. Has your embassy been informed of this thing that is about to happen to your life?
Don't you understand? Those are the people who want to kill me.
I understand only that once you endeavor to involve my government in an unpleasantness with your lies. However, the Russian embassy, please.
Leave him. Get away from him. Flight from a phone call to death. Mine. And for a woman who sits in the plaza near a fountain and waits. And for a child whose fingers play with drifting golden feathers of sunlight. And try not to run. Through a long corridor of marble and columns. Quick, blurred faces. And of voices. And their feet murmurings of the tongues of terror. And great doors of metal and glass open onto a pavilion of steps. Closer now to the images of fiesta. To the masks of fiesta. To the women and the music and the spinning scarlets and golds and green of fiesta. And across the street is a lifetime away. The cry of laughter and small fright. You've made a child, a young boy, sprawl against confettied pavement. And take the precious time to help him to his feet and say you're sorry. And a few steps to another building. To a shuttered door and beat on it. Because there's help there. And refuge. And Senor Cardoza's. The office of Senor Cardoza's. Cardoza's! Cardoza's!
Senor Leco.
Let me in.
Venga usted, amigo, come in. Always I close my office for fiesta.
He wouldn't listen to me, Cardoza's. He wouldn't believe me.
Huh? Oh, the man of the newspaper.
Someone has to believe me, Cardoza's. Someone has to see those documents.
Perhaps.
What?
A friend to me in the secret police, I could say to him of you, and perhaps he... Maybe... You have no wish of secret police, Senor Leco.
Get to him. Tell him.
I have but to phone to him. He's a friend from student days. He will meet us. To your health, Meros. Drink, amigo.
Where is your friend?
He will meet us here in good time. Drink. Meros.
Yes?
Are you not worried about your wife, about the pequeño?
They will be all right.
Yes, I'm sure.
That man who came through the door.
Pepe, aquí. Siéntate, Pepe. Amigo Pepe, amigo Meros.
Buenos dias.
How do you do?
You are in trouble, senor?
Yes.
What trouble?
Pepe, may I call you that?
Si?
I have stolen some documents from the Russian embassy.
Where are they, senor?
My wife has them.
And where is your wife?
She's waiting for me. When you hear my story, if you believe me...
No one believes him, Pepe.
The story, senor.
Tomorrow, I'm to be sent back to Russia. I have stolen documents to prevent this.
But that is the part that is difficult for authorities to understand, Pepe. My friend Meros talks of documents and has no documents.
See, this I notice.
To give them to my wife and separate from her is part of a plan. By this time, surely the theft of the documents has been discovered. By this time, the embassy looks for me. If they catch me, they cannot harm me.
See, the blackmail of the documents.
Do you believe my story?
Senor, I wish to tell you something.
Do you believe me?
To us of the police, the names of all members of your embassy is known. Yours. I will not conceal from you the fact that I know of the tricks you played with us last year. The matter of a professor at the university.
It's the truth. What I tell you is the truth.
Believe him, Pepe.
Why should I believe you, senor?
Because it is the truth.
See, I saw his wife, Lilia, leave.
I will take you to her.
I do not wish to be made a fool of.
I will give you the papers.
Believe him, Pepe.
I have a car outside. We will go to your wife.
Turn here. My wife waits for me at the Plaza Zugalo.
And she will wait?
With my son.
Yes, pequeño Pepe, 3 months.
Senor?
Yes?
Your wife is Russian also?
Yes.
And a member of the party?
Yes.
How can you be sure she did not return to the embassy, deliver back the papers, and when you arrive at the plaza, a trap?
Oh.
Funny?
Very.
The plaza, senor. Where is your wife?
Oh, slowly. Ah, yes. Yes, there she is. At the fountain where I told her to be, with the child.
See. Do not look at me so, Cardosas. The police motions to stop the car, so I must stop.
A procession. We can't get to the other side anyhow. We'll have to wait.
Idiots.
A parade. Such a solemn parade. How ridiculous. And they bow their heads.
You're communists. Both of you. Spies. Trick me.
You won't get away.
I'll show you. Hold it. These people. People, listen to me. You are fools. Listen. You are being exploited by your ignorance. Meadows, they'll kill all of us. Meadows. Exploit it. I do. Look to us. We will keep the world. Keep the poor. And that's the way it ended. The crowd ended it. The crowd I enraged with lies. The old lies. Communist lies. The lies I had once lived. They enveloped us. They turned over the car. And the last thing I saw, Cardosos and Pepe, communists who tricked me. The terror on their faces. The last thing I saw.
Meadows.
Oh, Lilia.
Are you all right?
Yes. And Ivan?
At home.
Home? Where?
At another place. Meadows, you are released. I will take you there.
And the papers. The documents.
The police.
They believe you.
Yes. Oh, yes. We are free, Meadows. Not to return to Russia. A new homeland. That is freedom. And no fear. Freedom.
Where we are now, we are not known. And it is freedom where we are. And there are hopes, and there is love. And I am alive. But if one day you would pass me on the street and stop and point your finger at me and say, this story happened to you, then I would be a dead man.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. William Powell.
This is Harlow Wilcox again, speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. That's why during these early months of 53, the Autolite family joins together in saluting the leading car manufacturers who install Autolite products as original equipment. Our Autolite family is made up of the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast and in still other Autolite plants in many foreign countries. Our family also includes more than 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite, as well as 98,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. Our Autolite family will salute the National Safety Council and its accident prevention work on the next Autolite Suspense television program. If you live in a television area, check the day and time of Suspense so that you'll be sure to see this program.
Next week, a true story. The tragic history of the most famous of all early California bandits. The story is called The Love and Death of Joaquin Murrieta. Our star, Mr. Victor Mature. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morowick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Man Who Cried Wolf was written for Suspense by Morton Fine and David Friedkin from research gathered by Larry Thor. In tonight's story, Lillian Bayef was heard as Lilia. Featured in the cast were Joseph Kearns, Jack Crucian, Steve Roberts, Byron Kane, and John Daner. And remember, next week, Mr. Victor Mature as Joaquin Murrieta.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
The National Broadcasting Company takes pleasure in presenting Mr. Boris Karloff in the third of a special series of anniversary Lights Out broadcasts. Tonight, at the urgent request of hundreds of listeners, we bring you a repeat broadcast of the strange play which you have chosen as a highlight of all the Lights Out series, Catwife.
Lights out. Everybody.
Your husband will be tanned down here in a minute. Come on, Queenie, we better blow out of here.
Yeah, I guess we better go, Linda. No, don't go. Don't go. I don't want to be alone.
What do you mean alone? Your husband's in the next room, ain't he?
Oh, that guy. What does he know about having fun? Work, work, work. It makes me sick where I've never been sick before. Oh, come on. Stick around. Let's have some more fun. You can't stop me. Oh, Queenie has the most marvelous songs ever.
Linda, for heaven's sake, Linda.
Well, speak of the devil. Hiya, Johnny boy. Come on in. The water's fine. Only it ain't water, huh?
It ain't water. Linda, for heaven's sake, I'm trying to work.
Oh, go away. Go away. You're spoiling my party. Throw him out of here, Kenny. He's only my husband.
Get out of here, you. Take that other woman with you. Go on. Come on. Clear out. Come on, Kenny.
No, wait. Don't listen to him. It's my house. It's my house. You kick them out. My friends. You kick them out.
Linda, haven't you any consideration at all? I begged you, pleaded with you to try to keep these people out of the house while I'm getting some work done. and you persist in doing just the opposite.
You kick them out. My friends.
Yes, I kick them out, and I'll do it again every time I find them here. They're no good. You've given me your word time and time again to give them up.
I'll call them back. I'll call them all back. You can't tell me what to do. Not me. They're my friends, mine. I'll give a dozen of you for one of them.
All right, Linda. If that's the way you feel, I guess you and I have finally come to the end of the road. You haven't got a grain of loyalty in you. All I ask is a little peace and quiet in my own home, and I can't even have that.
Ah, go away. Go away.
Night after night, you and those people, yowling and screaming like a pack of alley cats. And you the worst of all. I'm through, Linda. I'm through with you for good.
Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not.
Keep away from me. Keep away. Oh, Linda.
See? You're not through with me at all. You'll never be through with me. Never.
Oh, Linda. Linda.
No, let me go. Let me go. I don't want you, you fool. You're not through with me. I'm through with you.
No, Linda.
I'm tired of you. Do you hear me? I'm tired of you. I'm going to get so far away from that smug face of yours that I couldn't see it with a telescope.
Linda, my wife.
Your wife. Why do you think I married you?
I thought you loved me.
I married you because I was sick of working in a two-bit barber shop, because I was sick of living in a hall bedroom wearing bargain sale dresses. I wanted dough, plenty of it, all I could get. And you were the best chance to get it that came my way.
No, Linda, you did love me. You must have loved me.
I loved you about as much as that canary up there loves its cage. I told myself I'd stay with you a year, divorce you, stick you for plenty of alimony, and then get out.
But we've been married 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Because you fooled me, that's what.
I fooled you?
Yeah. You started to make a lot of money. More money than I ever thought you could make. So you're giving me the air, huh?
No, Linda, I love you. I'll always love you. I didn't mean what I said.
Well, I did.
No, Linda, don't leave me. You're no good. I know you're no good, but heaven help me, I love you. I'll never love anybody else.
Get out of my way.
No, I won't let you go. You've got to stay.
Take your hands off me.
You're no good. You've cost me my self-respect. But you'll stay with me, or I'll cut you off without a cent. You won't get a dime from me, not a dime. Stop that. Stop laughing.
Oh, you Sam. You fat-headed Sam.
Stop that.
So you're going to cut me off without a cent, are you? Oh, you fool. I've got everything that belongs to you now. You hear me? Everything.
What are you talking about? What are you saying?
This house. It's in my name, isn't it? The car. It's in my name, isn't it?
I know, but... Oh, no, you wouldn't.
Oh, wouldn't I? Well, listen to this, my darling husband. I cleaned out the bank account yesterday.
No.
Every cent of it. I won't be in the street. You will. Now, this is my house. Get your things and get out of here.
I'll kill you.
No, stop.
I'll kill you.
Don't you come near me. Let me go. Let me go. Ow!
Ah!
Oh. You touch me again, I'll tear your eyes out.
You cat.
Get out of my way.
That's what you are, a cat. A big, white, heartless cat. You think like one, you screech like one, you claw like one. You even look like one. A cat, that's what you are, a great white cat. I didn't marry a woman. I married a cat.
Keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing swell.
Laugh at me. Go on, laugh at me. But you're a cat. A sneaking, yowling cat.
Now, that's enough of that. You stop saying it.
The cat. The cat. You hear me? A cat.
Stop staring at me like that. Stop staring at me. John, what's happening to me? John, my head, I can hardly see. John, help me. John.
Linda.
yourself. Everything will be all right.
Oh, Doctor, what have I done? What have I done?
John, please, pull yourself together. You're not entirely to blame for what's happened.
What did I do? I did it. I'm to blame.
Stop talking like that. It's preposterous to say you're to blame. She was hysterical, John. And the suggestion that she was a cat caught her in an unguarded moment and resulted in a temporary neurosis.
Oh, Doctor, she's got to get well. She's got to.
Of course, she'll be all right. A little rest, quiet, and in a few days it'll all be forgotten.
Is she sleeping?
Yes. I gave her a sedative. She's resting very comfortably.
Can I go in and see her?
But I tell you, she's sleeping, John.
I know, but... Oh, I've got to see her. I've got to look at her. I've got to make sure she's all right. Don't you see? I've got to make sure.
John, please. You've had a hard time of it. You'd better get to bed and get some rest.
Oh, no, Doctor, listen to me. I've got to see her again. I've got to make sure that she's all right. I can't rest until I know.
Well, I tell you... Oh, very well. Just for a moment.
Yes.
Be very quiet.
Yes.
There. You see? She's resting very nicely.
Doctor, look.
What?
Her hands. Look at her hands.
They're claws.
And her teeth. Her teeth. Linda!
No, John. You'll waken her.
Linda! Listen to her.
Steady, John.
I can't stand it. I tell you, I can't stand it. She's Linda. She's my wife, my beautiful wife. Linda! Linda!
Sorry, John.
It's all right. I guess I'm going a little crazy myself. What's happening to her? What is it?
I don't know, John. I don't know.
Oh, listen to her. You've got to do something, Doctor. You've got to. You're my friend. You've got to help me.
What? In the name of all that's rational, what?
Well, think. There must be something you could do. A drug, something, anything.
Oh, John, I don't know what to say. I can't think. I'll call in someone else. That's it. I'll inform the authorities. They'll take care of everything.
No, wait.
What's the matter? What is it?
You're going to inform the authorities?
Yes, of course, John. Don't you see it's the simplest way out?
Way out?
Of course. For you and for me.
What do you mean?
John, this horrible thing that's happened to Linda, it goes beyond just you and me. It goes beyond the normal into the supernatural. Everyone should know about it. The world should know about it. Science.
You mean you're going to let everybody know what's happened to Linda?
Of course I am.
But you can't do that. She's my wife. You hear me? My wife.
No. Now, don't get excited again, John. Listen sensibly. We owe it to science.
Science? Who cares about science? She's Linda. She's my wife, and I cursed her to God and turned her into a yowling beast. It's my shame, mine. And you're not going to tell a living soul about it. No one, you hear me? No one.
It's my duty, John. I must inform the authorities.
No. Keep away from that phone. Keep away, I say.
I'm sorry, John.
Oh.
John, my friend.
No. Try to sleep, darling. Try to sleep. Yes, I know, darling. But it's almost morning. You must rest. Sleep, Linda. Sleep, my beloved. All right, darling. I've got to be strong.
I've got to help you. And I did help you. He was going to tell them about you. Everyone. They have taken you away from me, locked you up, pointed at you, laughed at you. But I stopped him, Linda. I stopped him for you. He called me friend. But you're my wife, my beloved, and I love you. I've pleased you, haven't I, my darling? I never could please you before, could I? And now I've pleased you. I killed him, Linda. I killed my friend to save you. And if anybody comes, I'll say he never came here. And no one will know, darling. No one but you and I. What is it, darling? What's the matter? Why are you getting up? What is it? Why go to the window? What do you want? Oh, if I could only understand you. If I could only know what you're trying to say to me. Oh, no. Oh, Linda! Linda, stop! I beg you to stop, Linda, beloved! Stop! 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 Yes, I'm coming.
Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
Oh, it's you.
I found this note saying you wanted to talk to me. Gee, I hope you're not going to quit taking milk from me, Mr. Taylor. I know I've been kind of late with deliveries the last couple of days, but you see, it's my horse.
No, I'm not going to stop taking milk. That's what I want to see you about. I want milk, more milk, cream, everything.
Oh, sure. How much do you want?
4 bottles of milk. No, 6.
6?
Yes, and cream. 6 bottles of cream.
Is something wrong, Mr. Taylor?
Wrong? Why do you think something's wrong?
Well, I only meant...
You meant what? Speak up. You meant what?
Oh, now, don't get sore, Mr. Taylor. I just meant, well, you don't look so good, and, well, you know how it is. Sometimes a fella has a couple too many, and he starts ordering all the milk in the world.
You fool. I'm not drunk. You want to sell me that milk, or do I have to get another milkman?
No, I'll get it for you.
Hurry.
6 quarts, 6 cream. Only him and his old lady. The guy's nuts.
Drink the milk, my beloved. Please. But you haven't eaten anything. You're hungry. You must be hungry. Oh, my darling, what do you want? I'll get you anything. Just eat. No, I can't let you out of the room. I can't. Someone might come to the door. They'd see through the windows. Oh, be patient, Linda, darling. I'll think of something. Oh, drink the milk for your own good, Linda. Please. No, dearest. Don't do that. All right, dear. All right. I'll let you into the dining room. But you've got to stay away from the windows. If someone should see you. Here. Let me carry you. All right, darling. All right. I won't. Go yourself. You see, my darling, your pretty living room. Everything in it just the way you fixed it. Everything. Oh, Linda, this horrible thing that's happened to us. I tell myself it isn't real. I'll wake up soon and everything will be the way it used to be. You and I. Linda, where are you? Oh, Linda, don't. No, Linda.
Could you do it? Oh, could you do it? Oh, good morning, Mr. Taylor. Early again this morning, ain't you? Good morning. Ever since you sent your wife to the country, my first customer every morning for the last 3 days you've been. Like I was saying to my wife this morning, I said... Yes, Mr. Heinrich, some other time. I'm in a hurry. My order, please. Yeah, but you ain't give me no order yet. How about a nice steak, what you can broil? No, nothing like that. But to broil a steak? I tell you, that's nothing. When my wife, she goes to the country, that's what I always make for myself. You lay the steak in the pan, and then you light the gas. I'm in a hurry, I tell you. Yeah, all right. You don't have to get so high blood pressure, Mr. Taylor. If you will tell me what you want, by golly, I'll give it to you. Well, I don't know exactly. A couple of pounds of liver. Yes, that's it. Fresh liver. What? Again? Don't hurt me. Sure, I hurt you, but by golly, for 3 days, ever since your wife, she went away, you eat nothing but liver. Are you going to fill my order? Yeah, sure. I will fill your order. There. Did you ever see such nice, fresh liver, huh? Oh, 2 pounds? Jawohl. There we are. By golly, it could be you was raising cats or something. Why do you say that? Well, every day you buy liver. This morning I catched a couple of mouses in a trap. Maybe you like to take them along for the cat too, huh? Don't say that! Don't say that! Mr. Taylor, the liver, you forgot. By golly, that man is verrückt. Now, what did I say that was wrong? Cats like to eat mouses. Oh, my Linda, my dearest Linda, close to me. Oh, my darling, it's better this way. You can't leave me now. I'll have you with me always. I'll keep you here, just you and I. I won't answer it. They'll go away. All right. I'll answer it. No, stay here, my beloved. They mustn't see you. Be very quiet. Be very quiet. Yes, I'm coming. Well, what is it?
Are you the owner of this building?
Yes, what do you want?
Kerrigan is the name. I'm your neighbor. I've got that place across the alley from you.
Neighbor?
Yeah, Kerrigan is my name. I'm with the department.
Department?
Yes. I'm desk sergeant at the 3rd District Station.
Policeman?
Yes. I'm off duty today, so I thought I'd drop over and speak to you. Do you mind if I step in for a moment?
Step in? Oh, no, not at all.
Thank you. Well, you got a nice place here.
Yes, nice. Very nice.
You know, the same contractors made this place as made mine. You didn't know that, I'll bet.
No, I didn't.
Yes. Irishman by the name of Gilhooly. Put up all these bungalows along here on nothing but blarney and the shoestring. Jumped out a 10-story window, they tell me, the day after the stock market crash. Lucky for him. If he was alive now, some of the people around here that bought places from him would murder him. What was the trouble they're having?
Trouble?
Say, now, speaking of trouble, reminds me why I come over. If you don't mind, I'll tell you.
Yes?
No, it ain't me that's complaining, Mr. Taylor. I'm the kind of man that can sleep in a boiler factory. But it's me Katie. There's a light sleeper for you. I always say that if a star in heaven twinkles too much, the noise wakes up me Katie.
What is the trouble?
Well, you know how the women are. Always finding something to make a fuss about. Hey,
I'm not disturbing her, am I? Her? Yeah. You know, your missus. She's not sleeping in the bedroom there, is she?
No, of course not. There's no one in there.
I thought maybe seeing the door is closed.
No, I tell you, there's no one in there. My wife, she's out of town.
Oh, well, that's fine. I always like to talk things over man to man without the women around. The women are all right, I says, but they don't know how to straighten our little troubles with neighbors without calling names and pulling hair.
Oh, what is it? What's wrong? What do you want to tell me?
Well, to put it plain, it's the cat.
Cat?
Yeah, the cat. You just got it, didn't you?
You heard a cat?
Yeah. It started a few nights ago. Now, it ain't just a mean one, like I said, but Miss Katie, well, you see our bedroom window faces right on the alley. And by golly, she hears every meow that animal makes.
You're wrong.
Eh?
I have no cat.
But Miss Katie heard. I heard it too, for that matter.
I have no cat.
But I'm telling you, it come right from this house.
I tell you, I have no cat. Isn't that sufficient?
Well, now, seeing as you put it so plain, I'll be speaking up plain myself. I'm telling you, I heard a cat yowling last night, and the night before, and the night before that. And as sure as my name's Thomas Kerrigan, it come right from this house. Now, what do you say to that?
Get out.
Now, wait a second, Neighbor. Wait a second. Don't get on your high horse.
Get out.
Well, now, see here. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just thinking maybe the animal's caught in your cellar without you knowing it. Now, if you let me go down...
I tell you, there's no cat here. Get out. Get out of here.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
You heard me. Get out of my house.
Well, you sure are making a lot of noise about nothing, young fella. But it's your house. And if that's the kind of neighbor you want to be, I guess...
What? What are you standing there for? Get out! Get out!
Now, just a minute. Take it easy. Your cat, eh? Well, what was that I just said?
Nothing at all. You've got no right
to... You may not be a liar, but you sure are something close to it. If that ain't a cat in that bedroom there, I ain't never heard one.
Get out! Get out of here!
Oh, no, I won't. Listen to that cat. If that ain't creating a public nuisance, I'd like to know what it is.
It's none of your business. This is my house. Get out of here.
Now, stop pulling at me, bucko. I may be off duty, but I'm still an officer of the law. And I'm telling you, that cat you got in there is violating the city ordinance. Now, if you don't make it shut up disturbing me, Katie, I will.
Stay away from that door. Stay away from that door.
Hey, listen to it. That ain't no cat you got in there.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I lied. It is a cat. Just a cat. But I'll make it be quiet, but go away. Go away.
Wait a minute. Take it easy. If it's just a cat, what are you getting so excited?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Look at you. Your eyes are blazing. What's going on here? I think I'll have a look.
No, stay away. Oh, no. Get away. Take it away. I told you to go.
Big gun. If I only had big gun.
You'll never use it. Never.
Keep away from it. Help! Help!
I asked you to go, didn't I? I asked you to. Didn't I, Linda? You heard me. You heard me asking. Linda, what's the matter? What are you going to do? Linda, keep away from him. What are you going to do? No, Linda! Get away from him! Linda! Stop! Oh! My eyes! My eyes. Oh, I can't see. God, if I could only find it. Blood in my eyes. I'm blind. Oh, God, have pity on me. Help me to find it. It must be here. I dropped it somewhere. You're back now, pressing against me. Oh, God, let me find that gun. I dropped it here somewhere. Let me find it. Got it.
Yes, press close to me. I can't see you. Press close to me. I mustn't miss. There. Press, claw, what does it matter? You cursed animal. You've taken everything from me. My eyes, my life. Now I'll take... Linda! I heard, my beloved, I heard you. I'm coming with you. Wait for me, Linda, my beloved. Wait.
Lights Out, with Boris Karloff and written especially for radio by Arch Oboler, comes to you each Wednesday from our Chicago studios. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now for the Whistler's strange story, Dark Island.
Dark Island was a fitting background for the grim scene just offshore. The waves on the beach all but drowned the staccato reports of gunfire. But the man crouched low in the tiny sailboat could see the stabbing bursts of flame with each shot, hear the bullets sting into the water around him. Yes, it was a very fitting background, because the tiny island had once been the sole property of an underworld boss named Sid Stauffer. The huge old mansion he'd built was still standing. It had been a mute witness to many a shooting fray in years past. Now it was a hotel, a focal point of the little artist colony that had sprung up on Dark Island, a gay bohemian group, too preoccupied with their own activities to be aware of the excitement taking place in the nearby cove. But the man in the boat, Ernie Regan, was more than aware. Yes, Ernie, you maneuver the boat frantically, fighting your way toward shore, and then abruptly the firing ceases, doesn't it? And a half hour later, you're back at the boat dock, tying up, and very much relieved.
Have a good cruise, Mr. Regan?
Yeah, fine, Sam. Give me a hand with this stern line, will you?
Sure. Toss her over. Got it.
Hi, Sam. Well, she's made fast.
Mrs. Tenner was down to the dock looking for you.
Oh?
She's having a party there at her place. Wants you to stop in and meet some folks.
Oh. All right, thanks, Sam. I'll do just that. Good night.
Night, Mr. Regan.
Strange, isn't it, Ernie? The contrast from those terrifying moments in the boat, with someone firing down at you, trying to kill you. Someone who might even be among the guests at the gay patio party. It's still in your mind, isn't it? As you stop by and Mrs. Tenner immediately takes you in tow.
Mr. Regan, I'm so glad you dropped in on us.
Well, the regular islanders told me not to miss one of Mrs. Tenner's parties.
This is just one of those impromptu things, Mr. Regan, but I guess practically everyone's here.
Tenner?
Yes, what? Oh, Julie, my dear.
Mr. Darcy, we're running low on firewood. Oh, excuse me.
Quite all right, my dear. I was just trying to talk Mr. Regan into joining us. Mr. Regan, Miss Vincent.
Ernie.
Hello, Ernie. Not bashful, are you?
Oh, it's not that.
Then come along. You were asking me something, Julie?
Firewood.
Oh, yes, I'll see to it. You take Ernie on up to the party.
All right. You one of the old-timers on the island, Ernie?
Hardly. I got here day before yesterday.
Vacation?
Oh, sort of. You?
Sort of.
Mrs. Steve wasn't kidding. Practically everybody is here.
They're all a lot of fun. You probably know most of them.
A few.
Hello, Regan.
Hi, Summers. Having fun?
I was until Ames showed up.
Ames?
Yeah, over there, the one with the built-in snare.
Oh. He writes, doesn't he?
Trash, strictly trash. Well, need another drink. Excuse me.
Doesn't seem to care much for our Mr. Ames, does he?
Not many do, I understand. Ames isn't the friendly type. He resents newcomers to the island.
Oh, I better watch my step.
I wouldn't worry about it. You feel like dancing?
How about your drink?
I can wait.
The incident at the cliffs isn't forgotten, is it, Ernie? But Julie helps to take your mind off it occasionally. And as the party progresses, you manage to meet some of the islanders. And you wonder if one of them was responsible for the attempt on your life. Later, you find yourself in a small group seated near the fire. Julie, Mrs. Tenner, Summers, and Winston Ames. The conversation suddenly veers to a subject of great interest to you.
Yes, I knew Sid Stauffer. I saw the house up there being built back in 27, I think it was.
What was he like, Mrs. Tenner?
Not what you'd expect. Quiet, soft-spoken, cultured, interested in the arts.
A pose, perhaps, to cover up?
No, I don't think so. Do you, Mr. Summers?
No, he was genuinely interested, that's for sure.
You knew Stauffer?
Yes, I was a newspaper man in the old days. Stauffer took a liking to me for some reason or other. I got to know him pretty well.
That what your novel is about, Summers?
No, Ames, it isn't about Stauffer.
Oh, well, then what is it about?
You wouldn't understand. And if you could, you wouldn't like it.
Philosophical, huh? Perhaps deep. Not very commercial.
Yes. So let's just let it go at that, huh?
Mr. Summers, I've heard a story about Stauffer.
Well, there have been a lot of them, Julie.
Do you think it's true that he actually buried over $250,000 somewhere on this island?
Malarkey.
Ridiculous, I'd say. Why should he do that? What are banks for?
Well, after all, a man in his position...
Yeah, he'd be a little afraid of bank accounts. Checkup, income tax, rat.
Our friend Mr. Regan has a point there, Summers.
No, the story that there's $250,000 buried on this island is bunk. Just bunk.
But it isn't. You know the story is true, don't you, Ernie? And you know where the money is buried. Yes, that's what brought you to the island. And someone else, apparently. That's someone who tried to kill you. It's almost 2 a.m. when you leave the party at Mrs. Tenner's, start up the path toward your cottage. And then you hear footsteps behind you.
Ernie.
Yeah? Oh, Julie. Thought you'd gone back to your cottage.
I wanted to talk to you.
Oh?
Tell me, Ernie, how does it feel to be a free man again?
Free man?
10 years in San Quentin is a long time, isn't it?
What's on your mind, Julie?
Like I said, I wanted to have a talk with you, Ernie.
About what?
$250,000, darling. Buried somewhere on this island. I know it's here, and so do you. Wouldn't it be smarter if we worked together instead of working against one another?
$250,000, Ernie. Yes, that's what brought you to Stauffer's Island, because you knew it was buried here. And now you learn that the attractive Julie Vinson is well aware of that fact, too. And you wonder if she's responsible for the attempt on your life earlier in the evening, as you cruised off the island in a small boat, searching out the cave where you're certain the money is hidden.
Look, sweetheart, I don't follow this line of conversation.
Don't you, Ernie? I had a boyfriend once. His name was Jim Corsi.
Corsi?
Your roommate at San Quentin. I used to visit him frequently. And then he died 6 weeks ago. Pneumonia, they said.
Jim Corsi was never what you might call robust.
And prison finished him. He didn't have to take that rap, but he did. To save his old friend, Stauffer. They were very close.
Were they?
Very. That's how we know the money's buried on the island. Don't we, Ernie?
Did Corsi say it was?
He was pretty certain of it. Only he didn't know just where it was. But he had a few ideas. Ideas he might have passed on to you.
You heard what Summers said. The yarn about the money being buried on the island is bunk. Just bunk.
And what are you doing here?
I told you. Vacation.
Oh, sure.
The funny thing, Jim Corsi never mentioned a girl named Julie to me.
How about a girl named Agatha?
Oh, yeah.
Agatha Julie, same girl. I sort of wanted to break off the old ties. Agatha Clark. Right?
Right.
So, here we are, Ernie. What's the next move?
Is it up to me, sweetheart?
It is. But do think it over. I'll be down at the beach in the morning for a swim. Let me know what your answer is then. Good night, Ernie.
There it is, Ernie, the cards on the table. Julie Vincent suggesting a partnership, a 50-50 split of the money. An attractive, exciting girl, isn't she? But you're not ready to accept her offer because you feel you can't trust her. You're certain she's in league with someone, perhaps the someone who tried to kill you. Yes, it could be a double cross, couldn't it? Julie working with someone else, trying to find out what you know, what your plans are. You think it over very carefully that night and decide what you must do. The following morning, down at the beach.
Well, hello, Ernie.
Morning, Julie.
Have a good night's rest?
Fine. Slept like a log.
Oh? Nothing on your mind? No problem?
No. Well, maybe one.
Oh?
Someone tried to kill me last night, about half an hour before I got to Mrs. Tenner's.
Where did it happen?
Near the caves.
Oh. So there's someone else on the island who knows about the money. Well, that rather complicates things, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of. You see, the cave can only be entered at low tide and only by an experienced swimmer. Our competition isn't an experienced swimmer.
Neither am I, darling. That's why I need a partner.
I don't.
Is that your answer?
No. I thought it over very carefully, Julie. I have decided we should team up.
I'm glad to hear that, Ernie. Very glad to hear that. What are your plans?
I'm going to get into that cave tonight. The tide will be at its lowest ebb around 8 o'clock. And Summers is giving a party.
What's the party got to do with it?
I've got a hunch our competition is going to be there. And that's where you come in.
What am I supposed to do?
Create a little diversion. You pull a feint.
Feint? Me? Oh, really?
It all happens a few minutes before 8 o'clock. It'll give me a chance to slip away unnoticed.
The trap is set, isn't it, Ernie? Yes, you've tipped off Julie what your plans are. And you're certain she'll reveal those plans to whomever she's working with. That night at Summer's party, Julie plays her part to perfection. And in the excitement, the confusion, you slip out the side door and hurry down the path toward the cliffs. And suddenly you veer off and wait in the darkness. Then you hear the footsteps.
Hello, Ames.
Oh. Mr. Regan.
Seeking inspiration?
Well, no, the party got frightfully dull, I thought I'd go for a walk. Cigarette?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't pitch my aims. Let go. Sure. Let go as soon as I get this. Just that's better. Oh, 38, huh? Didn't know novelists went around carrying 38s.
Seems I've been double-crossed, doesn't it? Well, never trust a woman, Regan.
You mean Julie?
Of course. I've made a few mistakes in my lifetime, Regan, but the biggest I ever made was trusting Julie. And she'll double-cross you, too. She will, I tell you. So, look, Regan, why don't we play it smart?
Meaning?
We split the money 50-50. Leave Julie out of it.
I intend to leave her out of it, Ames.
Oh, good.
And you, too.
Wait a minute. Regan, you wouldn't kill me in cold blood.
How about those pot shots you took at me while I was up in that boat?
No.
Sorry, Ames.
Wait, Regan!
Sure, I've thought about it, Julie, but, well, everybody these days is writing a historical novel.
It's a very good one.
Well, true, but I don't... Oh, hello, Regan.
Summers, Julie.
Hello, Ernie.
Where you been?
Outside. Jellicoe collared me. He can really beat an eardrum off that boy.
Oh, you're telling me. Oh, here, you can't stand around with a half-empty glass in your hand. Let me give you a refill.
Oh.
How about you, Julie?
Oh, no, this is fine.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Oh, you were gone a long time, darling. Did you...
No.
What happened?
I was followed.
Followed? Did you see who it was?
Nope. Didn't see anyone, as a matter of fact. Just had a feeling someone was tailing me. I decided to shelve my little plan.
That was smart, Ernie. Can't take any chances.
I'll try again tomorrow night. As soon as I get the money, we'll take off. We'll leave the island.
I've always wanted to go to South America.
Rio's a nice place, so they tell me.
$250,000, darling. And just the two of us. You're not sorry we teamed up, are you?
I'm not sorry at all, sweetheart.
What time are you going to the cave tomorrow night? And what can I do to help?
Around 8. You can rent a boat. Wait offshore.
All right.
We'll talk more about it in the morning. Right now, feel like dancing.
If you don't mind, Ernie, I think I'd better go back to my cottage. I've quite a headache. Excitement. Nervousness, I guess.
Sure, Julie, sure.
So you walk Julie back to her cottage, and outside, in the shadow of the rose-covered arbor, a tender good night. Yes. And as you hold Julie close in your arms, you wish things could be different, don't you, Ernie? As she kisses you, you want to believe she means it, but you can't. Because you're certain she's just playing a part, that she's been working with Ames, that it was she who tipped off Ames to follow you from the party, that she's only interested in the money and will do anything to get it. You want to tell her Ames is dead, his body now washed out to sea. You wish she'd confess she'd been working with Ames.
Julie.
Yes, darling.
You know, when you call me darling, I almost believe you mean it.
But you're not sure?
$250,000 is a lot of money. It's enough to...
Cause a gal to stage a big romantic pitch, to get her hands on some of it.
You took the words right out of my mouth, baby.
You know something, Ernie?
Yeah.
A few hours ago, you'd have had something. But that was a few hours ago.
Meaning?
The money doesn't mean so much anymore, darling.
But I do.
Don't you know?
Yeah, I guess I do. Anything else you want to say, honey?
There isn't anything else, darling. At least for now.
Back at your cottage a few minutes later, you pack your bag. glance at your watch. You still have several hours to wait before the dawn tide when you can get the money. You feel bad about Julie. Wish she'd told you about her working with Ames. Then you could believe in her, but she didn't. Not even when you gave her a perfect opportunity. And you're almost certain she intends to double-cross you when it serves her purpose. Then you realize you can find out, make certain whether Julie is really with you or merely playing a part. Julie doesn't know Ames is dead, his body washed out to sea. Quickly, you hurry outside and walk down the path toward Ames' cottage. Inside the cottage, you type a note to Julie on Ames' stationery and sign it with Ames' initials, W.A. In it, you say Ames is getting the hidden Stauffer money at dawn tide. Ask her to meet him at a secluded spot near the pier at 3:30 next morning. Be ready to leave the island with him. Then you hurry to Julie's cottage and slip the note under Julie's door. If she shows up, you'll know that all she wants is the Stauffer money. You'll decide then what to do about Julie. As you start back toward your cottage, you hear them close by. Recognize Mrs. Tenner's voice. Summers, his party guests. You look around for a place to hide, but you're too late.
Regan, hello there.
Why, it's Ernie. How nice.
We're going out on Jellicoe's boat for a couple of hours. Why don't you come on along?
Well, thanks. I was just on my way back to the cottage. I've got to catch a little sleep. No, really, thanks. Some other time. I've got to get up early tomorrow.
Well, okay. Okay, too bad you won't come along, Ernie. Must have a big day planned for tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, a big day, Summers. A real big day.
Stauffer's Island, usually quiet and peaceful, not at all a reflection of its early days as a gangster's hideaway, was now vibrant and alive with excitement. Its present-day residents clogged together, babbling nervously, wondering, talking in hushed tones about the boats arriving one after another from the mainland. Police boats, newspaper boats, boats filled with the plain curious. Why? Because a killing had occurred. A killer had been apprehended, and further, a confession was forthcoming. And it was all over. Only a few pertinent details to be cleaned up for the police and the press.
Oh, come on, Sheriff. I need a good story. Come on, give me the lowdown. Why was this guy murdered?
Well, it was a case of mistaken identity, and I got that straight from the killer.
You mean this guy that was killed?
The murderer thought he was somebody else, a guy named Winston Ames.
Huh, lucky break for Ames.
Well, maybe, but maybe not. Ames is still missing. Nobody's seen him since yesterday.
Yeah, but the motive, Sheriff.
The motive was Stauffer's money. Now, you boys know the story about $250,000 that Stauffer was supposed to have hidden here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, according to the confession, this guy Ames got a tip from somebody as to where the money was hidden. He and his girlfriend, Julie Vinson, came here to get it. And apparently that tip was a phony.
Oh, there's been a million phony tips about that, Bill.
Well, a little later on, this guy Regan showed up.
Now I'm beginning to get the picture.
And Julie Vinson made a play for Regan to see if she could learn anything. But then she fell for Regan in a big way and decided to double-cross Ames.
And rub him out besides, huh?
Oh, no. Her original idea was just to skip with Regan. Then last night she got a note, apparently written by Ames, telling her Ames was picking up the money early this morning and asking her to meet him and skip with him.
Well, how come she shot Regan?
Well, it was still pitch dark at 3:30 this morning, of course. And when Regan showed up at the same time and the same place that the note said Ames would be, Julie Vinson naturally figured Regan was Ames and let him have it.
featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Lamont Johnson, Gene Bates, Tom Brown, Gloria Ann Simpson, Britt Wood, and Larry Dodkin. The Whistler was produced by George W. Allen, directed by Robert Hafter, with story by Adrian John Doe, music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. The Whistler was entirely fictional, and all characters portrayed on The Whistler are also fictional. Any similarity of names or resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Remember to tune in at the same time next Sunday when the signal...
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. From the Black Museum, a repository of death. Here in the grim stone structure on the Thames which houses Scotland Yard is a warehouse of homicide, where everyday objects, a piece of carbon paper, a tin ashtray, a broken teacup, all are touched by murder. Now here's a woman's powder puff, faded pink. We'll open the glass case and take it out. There you are, sir. Perhaps Madame would like to take it. You draw back. The lace is pitiful and torn. Across the puff itself is an ugly stain. Once it was dark red, but its progress through the biological laboratory has left it bleached and pitted, where small areas have been teased out and examined under the microscope.
This sample belongs to blood group 3. Are you sure? Wait. Group 1 is here as well. Blood groups 1 and 3. That means there were 2 victims.
Yes, the faded pink powder puff was used to gag 2 victims before they were brutally murdered. That's why it can be seen today in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum. In just a moment, you will hear The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. Now, The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
Well, here we are in the Black Museum. Yes, beyond these stone walls, London throbs and is alive, but within these rooms, there's silence and death. It's very quiet. Come with me. Under the frieze of death masks, the masks of criminals of bygone days, suspended grimly under the ceiling, we pass slowly along the rows of murder exhibits, not always frightening in themselves, but terrifying when considered in relation to their history. There, matchbox. Here's a nail file. Each exhibit marked with the names of the killer and the victim. But our objective now is the powder puff. As it lies on the palm of my hand, let's turn back the clock and meet the man who used it for a grim purpose. His name, Richard William Hyson. The time, dawn on the morning of Friday, October the 18th, 1946. The place, Pentonville Prison.
This is it. Is it, boys?
Take it easy, Hyson. You've got about a couple of hours.
Give me a cigarette. I say. You're too kind. Oh, this is 20 days we've had in here, isn't it?
Yes, 20 days.
You won't forget me, will you?
No, we won't forget you.
Before I go, you must remind me to compliment the management. The food's been excellent. I can thoroughly recommend it to future guests. I've only one complaint.
What's that, Hyson?
The execution shed is too close. I'm sure I could hear the hangman practicing with a sandbag last night.
Nonsense. Here, have a wash.
After I've finished my cigarette.
All right. No hurry.
No hurry. 2 hours to go. 2 hours in which to reminisce. I think I was right not to see my mother and father.
They wanted to see you.
Oh, that's because they remembered me as I was. Big, blonde, and handsome. But they never really knew me. I nearly killed a girl when I was 16.
Did you?
Yes. It was at a kid's party. After playing Postman's Knock, we got tired of that. And I suggested we should play
The popular parlor game of murder. Somebody commits a crime in the dark, and the rest of the party are supposed to discover the culprit. Young Richard Hyson entered into the spirit of the thing with zest.
Jean, you come with me.
All right, Dick.
Let's go upstairs.
What shall we do?
Oh, never mind. I'll tell you. Let's go up while nobody's looking. Come on. Here's a box room. Let's go in.
No, I'd rather not. Let's hide here.
In you come.
No, Dick.
Don't be afraid. It's only a game. I'm putting this handkerchief in your mouth.
Oh, let me go.
Now I'm squeezing your throat. Shut up.
Jean, where are you? Oh, there you are. Why, Dick. But, Jean, what's happened? Oh, he killed her.
It was fortunate for young Dick Hyson the girl was not dead, but she was hurt and badly frightened. The warders in the death cell listened to Hyson's prelude to murder in silence, but perhaps their eyes betrayed their emotions.
You're shocked, aren't you? Oh, give me the towel, will you? Oh, thank you so much. You make a good batman. Have you been in the services?
I was in the Navy.
Oh, interesting. That was the only service I was never in. I began in the Air Force.
Yeah, so I believe. Hey, better start dressing now.
I enlisted as a pilot. Fighter pilot. They gave me a commission, of course.
Of course. Here's your tie.
Yeah, thank you. I had only one complaint about the Air Force.
Yeah? What was that?
The pay. So I volunteered to take over the mess funds. Well, that helped. So did the uniform.
You better put on a clean collar.
Oh, I'm allowed a collar, am I? Oh. That uniform certainly pulled them in.
Pulled who in?
Well, who do you think? Remember the case of the Air Force girl found in the burnt-out car in Suffolk?
So you were responsible for that, were you? How did it happen?
Now you're interested. Listen, boys, come on, gather round. I'll tell you about it before it's too late.
Richard Hyson could never bear to be anything but the center of attraction. He could never tolerate a disinterested audience. Even in his last hours, he had to hold his listeners. But how much of the truth he told will never be known. Nevertheless, a pretty girl of 21 had been found dead in a car close to the station where he'd been, looking after the mess funds 5 or 6 years previously. And he told his warders how he had stopped her on a lonely road while she was driving a staff car.
Hello there. Want a lift?
Oh, that's very nice of you. I'm going into Ipswich.
Sure, so am I. Jump in.
What's your name?
Parker, sir.
And your first name?
Joyce, sir.
I'm Richard Hyson. You can call me Dick and drop the sir.
Yeah, I think I've met you before.
Oh, I've seen you, too. At the command dock.
Yes, it might have been.
Oh, it was. I've been thinking about you ever since, Joy.
Oh, I don't believe a word of it, Mr. Hyson.
Dick. Look out. Watch that bend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, never mind, sweetheart. I've got nerves of steel. But I'd be happier if you let me take over.
Yes, perhaps it would be a good idea. Thanks. Well, don't bother to get out. I'll get out my side. Well, I must say it is nice to be driven for a change.
Good. What are your plans after you drop the car into workshop?
As a matter of fact, I'm feeling rather good today. You see, it's my birthday, and my mum sent me a very nice present this morning.
Well, many happy returns. And how old are you?
21.
Congratulations. She's 21 today. 21. What did they send you?
Money.
Oh, that's always the most sensible gift.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I say, are we on the right road?
Yeah, I think so.
We're not, you know. We're right off the road now. Hey, stop. Hey, I thought you were supposed to be a good driver.
So I am. Come here.
No, you've made a mistake. I'm not that sort of a girl. Let me go.
Yeah, you would you?
You're mad.
Where's the money?
Well, here, take it. Now let me go, please.
Oh, no.
Please let me go. I promise I won't tell.
Hyson had no intention of giving his unfortunate victim the opportunity to tell. He had exceptionally large, powerful hands, his fingers being an inch across the joints. There is no doubt that poor Joyce Parker was helpless in his grip. And when it was all over, he put her behind the steering wheel, started the car, and set fire to it. When the flames had a hold, he jumped off the running board from where he'd been steering, and the blazing car, together with its pathetic little passenger, plunged on until it crashed over the edge of a gravel pit. The crime had every appearance of being an accident, and Richard Hyson went to the picture alone that night. All expenses paid. He hadn't yet left behind any vital clues, such as might be seen today in the Black Museum.
In just a moment, we will continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. And now we continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
We returned to number 2 death cell in Pentonville Prison.
I was cashiered from the Air Force quite soon, and they found out about the mess accounts. So I joined the Army as Paul Colton.
Yes, we know about that.
I built up a new history for myself, and being a pretty useful type, I got a commission.
That was in the early days of the war.
Yes. I probably wouldn't have got a commission later on. They started going into too much detail.
How long did you keep the Army commission?
About a year. I lost it in the Middle East. That was really rather amusing. I was visiting the mess at HQ when I heard the general talking about selling his car before he was posted to a new command. That gave me an idea. Excuse me, sir. Yes? My name's Colton, sir. I'm sorry to hear you're leaving the command. I wonder whether you might be thinking of disposing of that private car of yours.
Do you want to buy it?
Yes, sir.
You'd better have a word with my ADC. Smithers. Yes, sir? Mr. Colton here wants to buy the car. Sort it out with him, will you?
Of course, sir.
And Second Lieutenant Colton, alias Hyson, wrote out a check for £100, which was exactly £100 more than he had in the bank.
That check bounced quicker than a golf ball. But I'd sold the old man's car even quicker and spent what I got for it.
So, bang went commission number 2,
Yes, they cashiered me. Which I told them I thought was rather hard on a first offender.
First offender?
Well, in the army, yes. Instead of coming home, I dropped off the ship in South Africa. I joined the army there. And believe me, it wasn't long before I got myself posted to England. That meant London for me. And those certainly were the days.
Don, I'd like you to meet Muriel. Donald Smithers, Muriel Gerson.
Oh, hello there. And what are you drinking, Muriel?
Scotch and water, thanks.
Yeah, tough baby, eh? Well, good for you. Hi, Stuart. A very large scotch and a very little water for a pretty girl.
You're quite a son of a gun.
Believe me, ma'am, I've had to be.
What are all those medals on your chest?
Oh, Distinguished Service Order.
And this one, I know. The Distinguished Flying Cross.
Right, baby.
I don't know these two.
Oh, the Croix de Guerre. I got it flying with the Free French, and that's the OBE, Order of the British Empire.
My, you're a hero. You must have a drink on me.
Donald Smithers, alias Paul Colton, alias Richard Hyson, had made the first vital mistake, which was to lead him to the scaffold. Needless to say, he was not entitled to any of those decorations. And he had sewn the ribbon of the OBE in the wrong place on his tunic, and, although he was still a captain in the South African Air Force, he was wearing the uniform of a lieutenant colonel. These points were noticed by an observant officer in the Royal Air Force who passed the information on to the security police. A rapid checkup followed, and Hyson was court-martialed and cashiered for the third and last time. Now he lived on women. During one short period, he was engaged to be married to no fewer than 9, and each one financed him to a greater or lesser degree.
And that took quite a bit of staff work, keeping them apart. But there was one I quite liked, Doreen Winston.
You'd better get on with your breakfast.
Yes, time flies. Doreen was a honey. Somehow I never managed to get her alone for any time. Pass the salt. Thank you. I shouldn't have bought her that powder puff.
You made a mistake there, Hyson. They all do.
What do you mean, they? I'm unique. Remember that. The night I gave her the puff, we had a row. She wouldn't come back to the hotel with me, so I snatched back the powder puff while she was using it and walked out on her.
So Doreen Winston was saved.
I was pretty annoyed. I never did take to a brush-off. So I hung around outside the club where I'd met Muriel Gerson, and I didn't have long to wait. Muriel?
Who's that? Why, Donald Smithers.
Hello, honey. Come and have a drink.
Okay. Let's go up to the club.
Well, I haven't any money till the morning.
That's all right. I've got plenty.
Have you? I don't believe it.
Then look at this.
A handbag opens, stuffed with notes. The fate of Muriel Gerton is sealed.
Look, sweetheart, I'm not the type of man who takes money from a pretty girl. Not even from you. If you'll come back to my hotel, we can get all we want on my bill.
So back to the hotel in South Kensington. And at the last moment, Hyson stopped abruptly, as if struck by a sudden idea.
You have to go gently, honey. I just remembered. They won't serve drinks to visitors after hours. We'll have to go in the back way, where we won't be spotted.
So in they went. Not into the hotel where Hyson was staying, but into another one where he had stayed some time previously. Hyson knew the geography of the place perfectly. He took his unsuspecting victim through the deserted trade entrance and up the servants' staircase to the first floor, where he found an unoccupied bedroom.
Okay. In you come.
Thanks. Donald, are you sure this is your room?
Of course. Why?
It looks so empty. No clothes, nothing on the dressing table.
Well, I'm naturally a tidy person. Come and sit down.
This with an invitation to a drink.
No, there are better things to do than drink. Come on, sit down.
Now, look here. I may be tough, but I'm not...
Sit down.
Why, you beast! I'll scream.
Well, there's a present for you. Powderpuff, in your mouth. That'll keep it quiet. Now, my beauty, I've got you exactly where I want you.
Again, those big, strong hands did their dreadful work. And when it was all over, Hyson removed the imp from his mouth, took her money, and returned unseen to his own hotel, where the chambermaid awoke him from a sound sleep at 8 o'clock the following morning.
Morning, sir. Not a very cheerful one, I'm afraid. I'll pull back the curtains. Oh, it's pouring outside, and nasty and cold. Now drink your tea while it's hot. And here's your newspapers.
Huh? Oh, the papers, yes. Oh, thanks. Thanks very much.
Not at all.
Papers. Now, let me see.
Woman found strangled in small hotel. Murder in South Kensington. Police are making widespread inquiries amongst the deceased friends and acquaintances in the hope of tracking down the murderer. The staff and members of a well-known Kensington club are being questioned this morning.
They are they? Then the chances are that the swine who split on me to the South African War Department is going to open his mouth again. He'll remember I was with her. I must get out of London quick.
It so happened that Hyson's panic was needless. The RAF officer was posted now, and he didn't come forward. Neither did the man who had introduced Hyson to his victim. But the scientists at Scotland Yard were becoming interested in traces of pink wool, which they found in the dead woman's mouth.
There's no doubt we've got particles of face powder on this fragment. So the murderer must have gagged her with a powder puff of all things.
But her own powder puff, which is white, was still in her handbag. That means the puff which was used by the murderer was taken away by him.
The fibres are quite new. There's no dust on them, and the powder hasn't had time to get into the material. Ah, there's a thread of lace here, too.
We'd better let the superintendent know right away.
Superintendent Brandruth of Scotland Yard was then faced with the tremendous task of trying to trace an unknown man who might have bought a pink powder puff with lace trimmings. The information and the request for assistance was published in newspapers throughout the country, and Hyson read about it in the seaside town of Eastbourne. For the first time in his life, Richard Hyson panicked. In a split second, he saw the net closing in. He reasoned that Doreen Wimpson, the girl he'd brought the powder puff for, would very soon tell the police. If he was caught, he must plead insanity. To establish insanity, he must commit another murder. And this time, there must be no motive. So that night, in a deserted street on the outskirts of the town, he waited for an unknown victim. It was dark. The few houses were scattered well back from the road. For nearly an hour, nothing stirred, while murder waited to strike in the shadows. Go back, little girl, go back, go back. No, she must come on. He's waiting with those big, strong hands, tense and ready. The powder puff becomes a gag for the second time. The deed is done.
I might have got away with a lot if Doreen Winston hadn't remembered the powder puff.
She identified it, didn't she?
Yes. I knew she'd get me.
The chaplain's here, Hyson.
Tell him to go to blazes. I'll be waiting for him. Got another cigarette? No, thanks. I was picked up by the police the next day. Even then, I nearly convinced them that they'd got the wrong man. They held me from 3 in the afternoon until 2 the next morning before I told them I was Richard Hyson and proud of it. But still, they couldn't really prove I'd killed the two women until they had my coat pocket examined in the laboratory. Then they found traces of face powder and little shreds from the puff in it. Tough, that. Tough, wasn't it, Padre, eh? Why, what are you looking so mournful about? I'm the one to worry. So the hangman's here at last.
Yes, Hyson. It's nearly over.
Well, if nobody's going to say anything, I will. Come on, boys, get the straps on and let's get going.
And so Richard Hyson is led to his appointed place on the trapdoors of the scaffold. A white bag is slipped over his head. The rope lodges under his chin. And while the chaplain intones the service of the dead, the trapdoors open and Hyson goes fluttering down into the dark cavity below. Justice has been achieved. And all because of the faded pink powder puff which can be seen now in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Orson Welles.
Hyson loved the limelight, and he was nothing if not bold. He did serve in the Army and the Air Force, but his decorations and his tales of gallantry and action were all lies. He lived on lies, forever hoping that they would never catch up with him. But one by one they did, and with them came the evidence. From the bad check he gave to the general in the Middle East, to the pink powder puff he gave to the one girl he admired in London. He hoped, of course, that the world would believe him to be insane. That would have spared him the final horror of the scaffold, and he might have been alive today in the grim fastnesses of Broadmoor, the criminal asylum. Was he mad? Well, you've heard the story. So another chapter of murder is closed, and the little pink powder puff, faded now, has its place in criminal history. And now, until we meet next time in the same place, I tell you another story about the Black Museum. I remain, as always, obediently yours.
The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles, is presented by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Radio Attractions, with original music composed and conducted by Sidney Torch, produced by Harry Allen Towers.
Mutual presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Bob Arthur and David Kogan.
This is The Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, and it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can. Where are we going? Tonight we're going to drop in on Henry Norton, a man who saw death in every corner. I call the story Death is My Caller. My story begins late one afternoon in the luxurious office of Henry Norton, a stockbroker. Norton, a tall, dapper man in his 40s, is in the midst of signing some letters when he's called on the office communicator by his secretary.
Excuse me, Mr. Norton.
Yes, Miss Perry.
There's a Mr. Blair to see you.
Mr. who?
Charles Blair. He says you know him very well.
Charlie Blair. Tell him I'm not in. I'm out of town. Tell him anything. I don't want to see him. I don't ever want to see him.
He says he knows you're here, insists on talking to you.
Get him out of the office. Get some of the boys to help me. If he won't leave, just...
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Norton. He forced his way in. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him.
That's quite all right, Miss Perry. I'll see him.
Hello, Henry. I thought you'd be delighted to see me. We haven't seen each other for 7 long years. That wasn't nice not to have a chat with your ex-partner, was it?
Well, I was awfully busy. I have a lot of work to do. You know how it is.
No, I don't.
I didn't know you were out already. I thought you had 3 more years to go.
I did, but good behavior cut 3 years off my sentence.
Well, that's wonderful, Charlie. I'm glad you're out. It must have been a terrible experience. You've changed. It was a little hard to recognize you at first.
Perhaps the prison pallor doesn't become me. And my hair has turned completely gray. I don't look so good, do I, Henry? Not like you with a Florida tan.
How's Helen?
My wife's dead.
She's dead? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. What'd she die of?
She died of heartbreak.
Oh, poor Helen. She was always such a sensitive woman. What about your son, Alan?
He disappeared after his mother died. I don't know where he is. He never wrote me while I was in jail. Never forgave me for bringing ruin and suffering upon his mother. You see, he was sensitive, too.
You've had a pretty hard time of it, haven't you, Charlie?
Your sympathy is touching.
Well, I hope you'll drop around again sometime when I'm not so busy.
I'm not leaving yet, Henry.
I've got some important work to finish. If you come around in a week or so, perhaps I'll have a spot for you, something in your line.
Don't be so nervous, Henry. I'm not going to kill you. Not yet.
Kill me? Why should you want to kill me?
I was wondering how long you'd put on this innocent act. All this concern about my welfare, about my wife and son. Why, you slimy rat, if it weren't for you, I'd never have gone to prison. My wife would be alive today, and my son wouldn't be embittered against me.
I swear to you, it wasn't my fault. Believe me, Charlie, I had nothing
You should have known that sooner or later I'd be freed. Did you think I was ever going to forget how you framed me?
I didn't frame you. It was out of my hands. I couldn't do a thing.
My wife died and my son disappeared. I had no reason to live. Just one thing that kept me alive. A fine and beautiful vengeance I had worked out for you. I thought of you constantly as I tramped the prison yard. I lay awake at night, smoothing out my plans to pay you back for all you've done to me. 7 years. You can think of an awful lot of things.
It was all Grayson's fault, I tell you. He's the one to blame.
I nourished and built my hate for 7 long years. I cultivated it as I would a garden, so that it isn't a hot, violent anger anymore. Oh, no. It's a cool, efficient hate that works by blueprint.
I look at you now as an engineer would at something he must destroy. And you're as good as dead, Henry.
No, Charlie. No, I can explain everything. Just give me some time.
I could kill you now, but you'd only suffer a few minutes, and then it would be all over. That would never equal the years of torture and suffering that I've gone through. But I won't disappoint you, Henry. I am going to kill you. But not until you've gotten a fair idea what 7 years of suffering means.
I tell you, Charlie, it wasn't my fault. Grayson made me do it. He made me water those stocks under your name.
So it was Grayson. Poor Grayson went to prison where he got sick and died. He framed himself, didn't he? Come now, Henry, pull yourself together. You ought to be able to concoct a better alibi than that silly one. You were quite a brilliant fellow once. Why, with one swoop, you got rid of 2 partners. And you thrived during these 7 years while I was away. I hear you're one of the biggest brokers in the city now. Climbed over the backs of half a dozen people.
Oh, look, Charles, let's be reasonable. I'll give you an important position in my company. It'll be a good-paying job.
A job? What for? What do I want money for? I have no family, no one to work for, care for. I have only one thing left in my life. And that, Henry, is to see you go to the next world in the most agonizing way possible. Goodbye, Henry. You can spend the rest of the afternoon most profitably by making out your will.
Henry Norton's cold and clammy hands were trembling as Charles Blair left his office. The impact of seeing this ghost from his past left Henry's mind in a whirl of confusion. His mind turned to flight, if that was impossible. His money, his very life was wrapped up in his business. He couldn't flee. His brain in a turmoil, unable to do any work, Henry got his hat and coat and left his office. He arrived home, badly unnerved, and retired to his study to give the problem of Charles Blair further thought. But he was interrupted.
See who that is, Miss Dean. If it's Mr. Blair, don't let him in. I'm never into him, understand?
Yes, Mr. Norton, I understand.
How do you do, madam? Is this the Norton home?
Yes, what can I do for you?
I'm Mr. Madden. I'd like to see the head of the household.
Just a moment, please.
Who is it?
He says his name is Madden.
Madden? I don't know anybody by that name. Has he got gray hair?
No, Mr. Norton, his hair is black.
All right. All right, I'll see him. Do you want to see me, sir?
Yes, sir. Are you Mr. Norton?
Yes, I am.
All right, boys, bring it in. Just put it down by the door for the moment, boys. That's it.
Hey, what's going on here? Why are you bringing a coffin into my apartment? Who are you?
Well, now, if you please, I'd like to see the body.
Body? What body? What's this all about? What's this coffin doing here?
We've come for the body of Henry Norton.
You must be crazy. I'm Henry Norton. You?
I'm sorry. I must have gotten the names confused. What was your brother's name?
I have no brother, and there's no body in this house. If this is some stupid joke, I don't think it's funny at all.
I'm not in the habit of playing jokes, sir. I've been an established undertaker for many years. Here's my card.
Well, the devil take your card. Who put you up to this?
Some man came to my parlor yesterday and arranged for the funeral of Henry Norton. He paid for everything in advance.
Some man? What was his name?
He didn't leave any name.
Charlie Blair. What did he look like?
Remember, rather tall, I think. His hair had turned white.
Blair. So it was Blair trying to frighten me. Get out. Get out of here, you stupid fools. Take that coffin back with you.
I'm not used to being spoken to like that, Mr. Norton.
Get out of here before I throw you out.
Come on, boys.
Wait a minute. Don't leave that coffin here.
It's all paid for, Mr. Norton. It's yours now. Keep it. You might need it sometime.
Before Henry could call Madden the undertaker back, he was gone. Henry turned from the door and stared at the new coffin on the floor. It even had a plate on it with his name engraved. Unable to stand the sight of the coffin, Henry fled to his study and locked himself in. Unable to sleep, he spent the night trying to think of a way to escape Charles Blair's vengeance. The following morning found Henry haggard and distraught, and no closer to a solution of his problem. As he ate a tasteless breakfast, the doorbell rang. Miss Dean, the housekeeper, went to the door. A minute later, she returned.
Who was that, Miss Dean?
It was the postman, Mr. Norton. His special delivery package came for you.
Oh, must be the new field glasses I ordered. Here, let me have it. Nice of them to wrap it in the gift box. Kind of a small box, though. Guess it isn't the binoculars after all.
Someone sent you a gift.
Probably one of my clients. Wait a minute. You hear anything?
Hear what?
It's ticking. I'll put it to your ear. Listen.
Yes, I hear it now.
It's throbbing. It's a time bomb.
Oh.
Somebody's trying to kill me.
Time bomb? Oh.
It'll go off any minute.
Well, what are we going to do?
Here, take it. Throw it away.
Where?
Out of the window, anyplace.
No. There's people outside.
Don't stand there like an idiot. Throw it out.
I'll throw it in the bathtub.
Hurry before we get blown to bits.
Dear, I hope it doesn't explode in my hand.
Henry Norton stood frozen with fear as Miss Dean raced with the package to the bathroom. A moment later, he heard the water gushing in the tub. Aware of the danger he was in, he hastily retreated to the library, which was the farthest room in the house from the bathroom. There he crouched in the corner, feverishly mopping his brow. 10 minutes later, a police car raced up to the house, and the doorbell rang.
We're from the bomb and alien squad. Where's the package?
It's in the bathtub. I turned the faucet on.
That will do, good lady. Where's the bathroom?
That door on your left.
All right, you stay here. Jim, you come along with me. Okay, here's the bathroom. You better stand back a little, Jim. I'll take a look at it myself. Well, it isn't ticking anymore. Might be safe to open it now. Well, here goes. Why, it's only an alarm clock. Someone must have wound it up before he sent it out. Now, who'd want to do a fool thing like that?
That night, Henry Norton found it hard to sleep. He tossed and turned for hours, and it seemed he had hardly closed his eyes before he awoke with a start, certain there was someone in the room.
Who's there? There's somebody in this room. I know it. I'll turn the light on.
Never mind the light.
It's you, Charlie. What do you mean by breaking into my room in the middle of the night?
Get dressed, Henry.
Get dressed? What for?
You and I are going somewhere.
You're crazy. I'm staying right here. If you don't leave immediately, I'll call the police.
If you call the police, they'll find only you here. Dead. Get dressed, Henry.
All right. I'm getting dressed, but you won't get away with it.
Make it fast. Don't make any unnecessary noises. Remember, it's with great control I keep myself from pressing the trigger.
Well, I'm coming. I've got to get my clothes on, don't I?
You're not going to a dance. Just put your shoes on and get into your coat.
Where are we going at this hour?
Don't be impatient. You'll find out soon enough.
You're not going to kill me.
You'd better stop stalling.
I'll get my coat. It's in the closet.
Go ahead and get it. You make one suspicious move and you're a dead crook. Are you ready?
Yes.
Walk in front of me. We're going out through the back door. Now, into the car. going to drive.
You want me to drive?
That's what I said, and don't plan anything. Only takes a fraction of a second to fire a gun. You'll follow my directions carefully. And drive slowly.
How much further are we going?
Not much further, Henry. Stop a little ahead of that tombstone sign.
Oh, we're near the cemetery. Look, Charlie, I know I did you a great wrong. Maybe we can work out something. I've got lots of money.
Stop here. We're getting out.
Be reasonable, Charlie. Let's talk.
The tombstone cutting establishment. Keep walking between the two rows of tombstones. Because this is our destination.
Please, Charlie, don't. I'll do anything. I'll turn over half my money to you.
Why not all?
All right, I'll give you everything I have.
I don't want any of your money. And I'm not going to kill you yet. You see the tombstone in front of you? You see it? I'll turn the flashlight on it so that you can read it. Yeah. Well, go ahead, read it.
Henry Norton, born March 15, 1899, died October 21st, 1947. October 21st? Why, that's Tuesday, the day after tomorrow.
That's right. The day after tomorrow. You have 2 whole beautiful days to live. But since you're the worrying type, you'll probably die 1,000 deaths in those 2 days. 8 o'clock Tuesday night. Your infamous career will come to a sudden and violent end.
You'll never get away with it. Nobody can get away with murder.
All right. That's why you're going to die in 2 days. I suggest that about 5 minutes to 8 you crawl into the coffin I sent you. It'll save time. Funerals are so disagreeable. The sooner you get it over with, the better.
You're inhuman, Charlie.
Am I? Then you don't accept my generous offer? You prefer to be put out of your misery right now?
No, not now.
Why, you're shivering, Henry. Better button up your coat. You're liable to catch cold. Imagine dying in the midst of a sneeze. Well, shall we go? Or would you rather look around at some of the other tombstones? Being so rich, you might prefer marble instead of granite.
No, I want to go back
Perhaps
home.
you'd like to look over the nice cemetery I picked for you. It's just the other side of this yard. I'm sure you'd like to see where you're going to be buried.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to see anything.
Not even curious. Well, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't make any difference where you're buried after you're dead.
Please, let me go home. I can't stand any more. Please, let me go.
Come now, Henry. You mustn't go to pieces. Why, you're trembling all over. Well, you're due for a nervous breakdown. You must be very tired. You've had such a hard day.
Oh, you're driving me mad. Please, let me go.
No pride at all. You ought to meet your fate with defiance instead of oozing out like a blob of melted jelly. All right. Come on. We'll go back to the car. You can return home and go back to bed now, if you think you can sleep.
The morning of October 21st arrived, and Henry Norton's nerves were a little calmer. He had been promised a police guard, and detectives were searching the city for Charles Blair. He was reading the morning paper at home when the phone rang.
Hello?
Hello, Henry.
Charlie, it's you.
Very much me, Henry. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. I forgive you for your joke on me the other night.
Joke? I wasn't joking, Henry. In fact, I called now to ask if you would like an elaborate funeral with flowers or just simple services with no one but your intimate friends present. Oh, but how foolish of me. I forgot you have no friends, so my call was useless. But I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock sharp. Goodbye, Henry.
Operator. I must trace that call. Please tell me where it was coming from. Yes, I'll wait. Huh? What? The Judson Funeral Parlors? Well, that's in this block. O'clock. My head's splitting. Are there any aspirins in the house, Miss Dean?
Yes, they're in the medicine cabinet. Shall I get them for you?
No, never mind. I'll get them myself. Tonight I'm supposed to die at 8 o'clock. That's fantastic. Blair can't carry out his plan. Not if I had police protection. I've nothing to be afraid of. Nothing. Here are the aspirins. I'll take a couple of them. Oh, my head's splitting. No, maybe they're poison. That's right. They do look too large for aspirins. They are poison. Got to be on my guard. Death may come in 100 different ways. Got to be on my toes. Oh, my headache. That's nothing. I won't take any aspirins.
Dinner's ready, Mr. Norton.
No, I'm not hungry.
Oh, but you must eat. You haven't eaten all day. How about a little broth? It'll warm you up.
All right, yes, I do feel cold. Can't seem to get warmed
I'll
up.
get it for you.
Why, she's so anxious for me to eat. She doesn't like me. She never showed any concern about me before.
Here it is, Mr. Norton. Would you like some croutons with it?
No, nothing else. Something's wrong. This broth, it has a peculiar bitter taste.
Just some spice I put in.
You're lying, Miss Dean.
Lying? Why should I be lying?
You're trying to poison me. Blair's put you up to this, but I'm too smart for the both of you. He'll never get me that way.
You're crazy, Mr. Norton. I put up with plenty from you, but I've had enough. I'm leaving. You're a hard, mean man. I wanted to tell you that for a long time, and if anybody wants to poison you, he must have good reasons.
Get out, you Borgia.
I'm going. You can get yourself a new housekeeper.
Good riddance. You tried to poison me. Good thing I didn't swallow it. Who's there?
It's the police.
Oh, just a second. Police. It's about time you got here.
You're Henry Norton?
Yes, of course I am. Come in.
I'm Officer Gibson, Mr. Norton. I was sent to act as your bodyguard. I was told someone's trying to kill you.
Yes, 8 o'clock tonight.
You don't say. Even told you the exact time.
What precinct did you say you came from?
I didn't say, but I'm from the 16th precinct.
Who's your captain?
Captain Donovan, Tom Donovan. Say, what's all this about?
I just want to make sure you're a real policeman.
What do I look like, a fireman?
I've just got to make sure. You got any credentials?
Why, of course I have. Here's my identification card, and here's my badge.
I guess you're okay. I've got to be careful. Blair's promised to kill me at exactly 8 o'clock tonight. He's capable of any trick.
Well, you don't have to worry, Mr. Norton. The chances are that he's just trying to frighten you. But if he's serious, he won't get very far.
You don't know him. He's an inhuman fiend.
Well, I'll take care of him if he comes.
Say, you don't speak like a policeman. Your English is too good. You were sent here by Charlie Blair. You're a fake.
I happen to be a college man who became a policeman. Nothing strange about that, is there? Why don't you call the precinct and make sure?
I will. I'll call him right away. Hello, operator. Give me the 16th Police Precinct Station. Hello, 16th Precinct? This is Henry Norton. Did you send an officer named Gibson to my house? Oh, you did? I just wanted to make sure. Thank you. Sorry, you can't be too careful.
Well, that's okay. I understand how you feel.
What time is it?
It's 2 minutes to 8.
Is that the exact time? My watch says 3 minutes to 8.
I checked my watch by radio just an hour ago.
He'll be here. I know it.
I don't think so. No man in his right mind would walk into a trap.
It's 8 o'clock.
Your hall clock is off about a minute.
Well, say, you're shaking like a leaf. Oh, I'm frightened.
He certainly put a scare into you.
What was that noise?
I didn't hear anything.
I'm sure I heard something move.
Oh, it's just your imagination.
Oh. Well, what time is it?
Just 8 o'clock. As a matter of fact, it's a few seconds after 8.
There he is. There he is. It's him. He's come.
Stay right here. I'll answer it.
Don't leave me.
No, you stay here. That's funny. No one's at the door. I'll take a look outside.
Hello, Henry.
Charlie, how'd you get here?
You see, Henry? I keep my appointments. I got a boy to ring the bell at exactly 8 o'clock. I've been hiding in your house for hours.
No, don't, Charlie, please. You can have everything. I promise I'll give you back everything I took from you.
In less than a minute, you're going to die.
Help, Gibson, save me.
The door is locked. No one can save you. In a moment, your heart will be ripped apart by a piece of lead. Just one terrific moment of agonizing pain. Then you'll be dead.
Open our door, Norton.
Help, he's going to shoot.
Open the door.
You see? No one can help you now. This torture is only a minute for you, but it was 7 years for me. Pity you want so much to live.
Mr. Norton! I'm going around to the side door.
Please, Charlie, I'll do anything.
No use crawling, getting on your knees. I'm going to shoot you when I count 3.
No.
1.
No. Help.
2.
Gibson, save me.
What's going on here? Why did you lock me out? And just who are you?
I was playing a joke on my friend.
A joke? You just shot him. Hand over your gun.
Yeah. But I didn't really shoot him. You can see for yourself. I just fired a blank.
Huh? That's why Norton is lying on the floor?
He's just fainted.
We'll see. Keep your hands up.
He wasn't shot. There's no wound. Not a drop of blood anywhere.
That's right.
I only meant to scare him. He's in a deep faint. We had better call the doctor.
So, you only meant to scare him. Well, Norton's dead. You frightened him to death.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Did you enjoy our little trip? Poor Henry Norton. Imagine dying from the noise of a blank cartridge. His nerves were really on edge, weren't they? Oh, well, at least he got a free coffin and tombstone, and he doesn't have to worry anymore about dying. What happened to Charles Blair? Well, he's still in prison, of course, because you don't get away with murder, even when you kill with a blank cartridge. And speaking of murder, I recall another case in which a lovely young girl was able... you have to get off here. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at the same time.
You have heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. In tonight's cast were Maurice Toplin, Santos Ortega, Agnes Young, Ted Jewett, and Neil O'Malley. Original music was played by Paul Taubman. The Mysterious Traveler is written, produced, and directed by Bob Arthur and David Cogan. Listen next week to a tale titled Invitation to Death. Another strange and terrifying tale of the mysterious traveler. This program came from New York. Another program of tense and dramatic action follows in just a minute. Stay tuned to the station for Official Detective. Carl Caruso speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Strange Wills. Starring the distinguished Hollywood actor Warren William, and featuring Lorene Tuttle with Howard Culver and an all-star Hollywood cast. Original music by Del Castillo.
Dead men's wills are often strange. We cannot attempt to understand them or try to find the answers. We can but tell the story.
This is Warren William bringing you the story of Emily. But first, here is a brief message from your announcer.
And now, Emily, with Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
Is it possible for some men to love an inanimate object more than they could ever love a human being? This is the story of Emily, the life story of a violin. Let us go back to the little Italian village of Cremona. The year is 1732. In his workshop, Antonio Stradivarius, maker of fine violins, is fingering with loving care a beautiful new violin.
Francesco, come here, please.
Yes, Father.
It is done, see?
Oh, it is your greatest creation, Father.
Yes. 12 years of loving labor, here in this one violin. But every moment was well spent. My son, we have created an instrument that is almost human. Our tears, our laughter, yes, our very souls have gone into the aging of the wood. Our hands have lovingly carved the fingerboard. Our hearts, the sound post.
Let me play it, Father.
Please do, Francesco. Let it sing its first song just for us.
It sounds like the voice of a beautiful girl. Rich, full, vibrant.
But one not yet tempered by the years, my son. Today this violin sings the song of youth. But as it lives, it will cry also. To be perfect, it must suffer as human beings suffer. It must drink deeply of life to be able to sing of life.
Father, what shall you name it?
I've been thinking for many months about a name. You know, my son, there is only one name that I think we can give it. It is the name of a young girl that I once heard singing in the hills of Lombardy. I was but a boy. It was spring, the hills were green, the blossoms bursting on the fruit trees. As I walked over the hills of our Lombardy, I thought I heard the voice of an angel. It was so fresh, eager, so full of life,
There was sheer joy of youth. Well, bashful as I was, I spoke to her. You have the voice of an angel, Signorina.
Well, thank you, young man.
Oh, no, do not thank me, Signorina. Thank the good God in heaven for the miracle of your voice.
I thank him for more than that, my young friend. I thank him for being alive, for letting me see the wonder of his miracles, for spring in our beloved Lombardy, and for giving me the grace to follow him as a nun.
A nun? You?
Yes. You see, my young friend, tomorrow I enter the convent of Matador Lesa. It is my calling. I am to be the bride of the Savior.
God has doubly blessed you, Signorina. You are fortunate.
I only ask that I can always feel as I do this morning, and that I may serve my Creator and sing his praises.
What is your name, Signorina?
Emily? But why do you ask?
Because someday I shall create a violin that will be better than all those in the world. Better than even those made by Amati. And when I do...
Then, when you have created this great violin, my little friend?
I shall name it after you, Signorina. I shall call it Emily.
And so, in 1732, the maker of the world's finest violins inscribed into his greatest creation these words: Emily, Antonio Stradivarius, Cremona, 1732. In the next 20 years, Emily became the most beloved possession of the great concertmaster Gustavo Martinelli. Emily was growing in tonal quality and in loveliness. Her muted voice was heard in all the great concert halls of Rome, Berlin, Vienna. She was acclaimed by the music lovers of Europe. And then, one day, the great maestro retired. The golden voice of Emily was stilled, but not for long. Fortunately, a roving band of gypsies came to town. And when they left, under the cover of darkness, they had Emily. These were glorious days for Emily, and from the enchanted woodlands of Italy she traveled north through the Balkans, up through the forests of Russia, ever singing, ever living, ever growing. At night under the moon, the gypsies would gather round their campfires and sing their ancient songs of Romany. Emily pulsed with warmth and feeling. She must have loved the gypsies, and they loved her. For almost 30 years, she traveled from the steppes of Russia to the sunny provincial towns of Spain. One day, the little gypsy band entered Vienna. As was their custom, they wandered through the city singing songs, telling fortunes, and, of course, playing Emily. As they played their wild gypsy music, a man opened his window in the Oden house and looked down into the street.
Well, they're gypsies. Who gives a Paganini competition? Who owns that violin?
It belongs to us, Maestro Paganini. To us, the gypsies of Romany.
I want to look at it. Bring it up, please, to Suite 200.
But we are not allowed to enter the public buildings, Maestro. We are gypsies. It is against the law.
When Paganini says to enter, you enter. With a violin such as you have, you could storm the very gates of paradise. Come in, I say. Come in, gypsy girl. Come in.
Thank you. Thank you, Maestro Paganini.
Hey, but where are the others? I invited them all.
They will wait for me outside. We gypsies are not worthy of the invitation of the great maestro.
You gypsies. What simple children you are. You cry and laugh, much as the children do. But I envy you. I, Maestro Paganini, envy you with my whole heart.
Envy us gypsies? Oh, Maestro is making fun.
No, I speak what is in my heart. I envy you gypsies because you alone know the wonderment of nature. You alone witness the miracles of God. And you alone have the feel of life. Oh, give me the violin, please. I would look at it.
Oh, yes. Here it is, Maestro.
Let us walk over here to the window. The light is much better. Oh, the workmanship is perfect. Oh, wait, let me look inside. There, I see the signature. I knew when I heard the tone I was not mistaken. Antonio Stradivarius, 1732. Emily. So this is the violin that the whole world has been searching for. This is Emily. It's the greatest of all creations.
Emily? Emily, I do not understand.
This is the one violin Stradivarius named after a girl. They say she was his boyhood sweetheart before she came a nun. He never forgot. And he named his violin after her.
And to think it belongs to us, the gypsies. But Maestro Paganini, Emily has been happy with us. She sings just as we do and cries, and she dances our gypsy dances, just as though she was born one of us.
May I play it?
Oh, Maestro, that would make all of us happy. Emily played by the great Paganini.
Divine. I cannot live without. I offer 1,000 lira.
1,000 lira? Oh, no, Maestro.
2,003.
No, Maestro Paganini. Oh, no.
Oh, how much then? Name of the price. How much to make Emily mine? I must have. You shall not leave this room until we strike a bar.
The gypsies are strange people, Maestro. My father instructed me to tell you that if you love the violin, then it is to be yours.
For what price, gypsy girl?
The price is this. That you shall play one of our beloved songs of Romani for us now. Look out of the window. You see, they stand on the street below, waiting for you to play.
Yes, there they stand, all of them, looking up here. You see now, gypsy girl, what I meant when I said you gypsies were God's most beloved children. If I cry, little pay no attention. I'm a silly, sentimental fool. You gypsies below, you shall have your song of Romani, and more. You shall have the eternal love of the great Paganini. I vow you this before the blessed Mother. Viva Maestro Paganini! Viva Maestro Paganini!
Part 2 of Emily in just a moment. But first, a brief message from your announcer.
And now back to Emily, with Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
Having acquired Emily, Niccolo Paganini soon became the toast of king and beggar. London, Paris gave him their adulations, reserved only for the very great. The capitals of Europe begged for his appearance. The years passed swiftly. Finally, he gave his last concert. It was in the Imperial Conservatory in Vienna, just a stone's throw from where he had first heard Emily. Music lovers arose and applauded his genius. Niccolo Paganini raised his hand for silence.
My dear friends, it's hard to say goodbye, but to every man that time must come. For me, it is tonight. You who have loved me these many years have not forgotten the fact that my hands have played upon the most beautiful, most wonderful of all violins. I go, but Emily must live on, for as long as the world lives on. It is only right that I give Emily to the one I think will make her the happiest. And that man is not very far away. In fact, he is here in this conservatory. I, Niccolo Paganini, to hereby will and convey my violin, Emily, to Herr Adolf Heller, concertmaster of the Austrian Imperial Opera. And may bring joy and happiness not only to all of you, but to my dearest possession, my Emily.
Music lovers the world over flocked to Vienna to hear Concertmaster Heller and Emily. Under his talented figures, a new world was opened to her. In the midst of this thrilling period, Herr Heller received a note from Johann Strauss asking him to come to his apartment and to bring Emily. He called on him the following afternoon.
Herr Heller, come in, please. I am so happy to see you again.
I am honored, Johann. And see, I have brought Emily as you asked me to.
Good, good. Oh, that is wonderful. Now I know I will succeed. Here, sit down, please, Herr Heller, Adolf, and let me tell you what I've been doing.
Thank you.
Adolf, you and I have been born and raised in Vienna. Beautiful Vienna. Is it not so?
Yeah, Johann. Our Vienna is the most beautiful in the world. Music and Vienna. The one belongs to the other.
That is right, Adolf. Now, let me tell you. For the past few weeks, I have been working on a new composition that will make our Vienna live forever in song. I have the manuscript ready, but I wanted Emily and you and I to be the first to play it. Then we will see whether or not it is really as beautiful as I hope it to be. Come over here, to the piano, Adolf.
Yes, Johann.
See, here is my composition. I have called it Blue Danube. If you will play it for me, I shall accompany you on the piano.
It will be a great honor, Johann, for both Emily and for me. I swear, Johann, as long as a single one of us remains alive, Emily will never leave Vienna. Never. It is my solemn vow.
From father to son, down through the next 3 generations, Emily stayed in the Heller family as each son became in turn concertmaster of the Royal Opera House. These were exciting years. But all good things must come to an eventual end, even for Emily. In 1938, Hitler decreed that Austria and Germany would henceforth be one. By special decree, the Viennese Symphony Orchestra was transferred to Munich. All through the war years that followed, Emily was forced to play music selected by government agencies. It was a time of great sorrow for musicians and for Emily. Then, early one morning, on the outskirts of Munich, there came the sound of war. Munich was about to be captured by the Americans. The city was entered. The opera house deserted.
Hey, Yanks! Try that building!
What? Why, there's no one in here. Nothing but a lot of music contraptions. Horns and... Gosh, even a fiddle. Can't be much good, though. It looks too old. It looks like one of them antiques. Probably a piece of junk. Gosh, it still plays, though. I'll just take it home. Make me a good souvenir, even though it does sound lousy.
Then to America came Emily, and the stage was set for us to meet. I was driving through the hill country of Tennessee. It was a beautiful spring morning. The fruit trees were bursting with their snow-tinted fragrance. Just outside the little village of Pineborough, I noticed some public announcements nailed on a tree. The letters were red and flaming. Barn dance, I read. Hear George Ricketts play his captured German fiddle. Come one, come all. Refreshments. Well, I decided to stay over and hear George Ricketts play his fiddle.
Well, let's climb your partners, bring 'em round, race to the left and hit to the right, and march 'em down the city road, and kiss the girls and make 'em smile.
After the dance, I had the pleasure of meeting Emily, and later talking over a little business matter with ex-GI George Ricketts.
It's been mighty nice, Mr. O'Connell, having you as a sort of guest star tonight.
And believe me, George, I thoroughly enjoyed my stay over to hear you play your violin.
Well, thank you, Mr. O'Connell. I don't play very much, mostly for square dances and the barn dances in the fall.
George, may I look at your violin, please?
Why, sure. It ain't very fancy looking. In fact, I picked it up over in Germany, a sort of a war souvenir.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it does look rather old, doesn't it?
Don't see how it hangs together after the beating I give it at these here shindigs.
You see, George, the man who made it put his name in it. Here it is. See it?
Why, sure. I've seen that before. Antonio something or other. Never paid me much attention to it. Sounded like some Italian to me.
He was, George. He was an Italian. His name was Antonio Stradivarius. He was a great genius, George. I want to ask you something, man to man.
Why, you just go right ahead, Mr. O'Connell. I'm listening.
Once upon a time, this violin belonged to some musician who undoubtedly loved it more than anything else in the world.
Love a fiddle that much? Why, you're a joshing.
No, I'm not, George. I'm telling you the truth. You know, in Europe, these violins are handed down from father to son, down through the years.
Well, do they think that much of them?
They do, George. I know that someone misses this violin more than you'd miss, say, $5,000. So it choked me up there. I'd sure miss $5,000 more than I missed that. Well, then, George, how about it? I'll give you my check for $5,000, and you give me this violin.
Why, say, that would buy Super Deluxe instruments for a whole band. Yes, sir, whole band. Why, sure, it's a deal, Mr. O'Connell. But what do you say you write out that check right now?
Believe it or not, George, that's just what I'm going to do.
And what are you going to do with that fiddle, Mr. O'Connell? Keep it as a war souvenir?
No, George. I'm going to try very hard to find its owner. And when I do, I'm going to send it back to him. After months of correspondence with friends in Europe, I finally located and sent Emily back to its owner in Vienna. Weeks later, I received a letter from Siegfried Heller, Kapellmeister at the Vienna Opera House. I'd like to read it to you. My dear Mr. O'Connell, Emily arrived at the airport this morning, and now I live again. Oh, the heartbreaking years since I lost her. It was like losing your mother, father, and wife all at once. But now she's back. Already I've played many of the pieces Emily loved so well. She became warm, throbbing, almost a living human being in my hands. As long as there is a single son to bear our name, Emily will remain with us, to play for the world. She belongs not to us, but to posterity. I know, too, that Antonio Stradivaris and the original Emily, wherever they may be, thank you and bless you. I beg to remain sincerely grateful, Siegfried Heller, Kapellmeister, Vienna Opera House.
Warren William will be back to tell you the rest of the story about Emily. But first, here is a brief message from your announcer. And now back to Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
There isn't really much more to say about Emily, except that I hope she'll go on and on playing the music of great masters, bringing happiness and love to a sorry world. We need more Emilys to bring us all a little closer together, north, east, south, west, in a real, true brotherhood of man. And what is a better way than through the universal language of music? I don't know. Do you? Next week, I have a thriller for you. An innocent man was sentenced to death for murder. 1 hour before the scheduled electrocution was to take place, a dying woman made her last will, and in it confessed that she had murdered the man. 60 seconds were left to save the life of an innocent man. 60 seconds. But unfortunately, nature conspired against him. We call this most exciting story Margin for Love. This is Warren William, inviting you to listen again next week.
Strange Wills is written by Ken Crepine and directed by Robert Webster Light. Ladies and gentlemen, it might interest you to know that the violin used on this program was made in Italy in the year 1750 by Januarius Galliano. It was played by its owner, concertmaster Marshal Sasson. Names, places, and events in the program have all been changed so that reflection can fall on no persons living or dead. This is a Teloways feature produced in Hollywood.